And as you can see, we are heading right into it. We talked enough, but now it's time for some action. It's time to get serious. These two teams are fighting in the end for a prize pool of total 2,000 US dollars. And I think if that is not motivation enough, I don't know what is. Starting off, of course, as always, with the ban phase. Homeless starting on defense first, so they're allowed to ban first. First ban will come in 3, 2, 1 seconds, and let's see what it is. It will be an ace.
Oh.
Okay, that is definitely an interesting ban. Not something we expected earlier, but we can talk about that in a second. Next ban, if you're unfamiliar with the ban system, is going to come up from Team Wanted. And it is going to be, let's see, it is going to be a Maverick. So we will see a Thatcher in play. Definitely interesting. Next ban coming up from Team Wanted. Dino, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, so seeing those two hard breaches get banned implies that this is going to be a heavily defensive-sided game, but these two defender bans can really help shift things up. So we see the Wamai getting eliminated from the play, and well, we mentioned how typical that is, so seeing the Wamai get removed sort of starts to bring things back a little in favor of the attackers. And last but not least, Mirror, of course. Of course, everyone's just going to ban out a Mirror these days, especially on a map like Villa, unless you're, BDS and you have these pocket strats and you can just bring it out whenever you want. People just don't want to deal with it.
To be honest, that is completely understandable. Most teams do struggle against her, but let's admit, why do teams struggle against her? Because she is a really strong operator, especially, of course, that mirror window. You never know. Is there somebody behind? Yes, no. Will somebody pick me? Yes, no. When will he pick me? So that definitely makes sense to get rid of.
Oh. Dining? To start things off? I mean, that I've seen a couple teams recently begin on the tertiary site. The Astro and the Statue are generally the two primary sites. And, starting off on your tertiary site, this kitchen dining, I mean, it's a bit of a gamble. It can work out well, throw off the attack's rhythm and everything, or it can really backfire and you lose that initial round and you're trying to scramble to recover moving forward. So, what do you think of it?
I'm definitely interested. I mean, kitchen and dining is a bomb site you always want to have open as a third sort of fallback bomb spot too, but seeing it first kind of gives us some fresh air. I mean, we are going to see these two teams fighting against each other for the first time, so I guess they have prepared something very special for not only today but also for the rest, of course, of season 5. And I'm inclined to say bringing up dining and kitchen is something prepared. It's not something spontaneous, in my opinion. So I'm really looking forward to see how they hold it. And as we can see already, they're also holding quite a bit of living room as well, so it looks like a first floor hold completely, or more or less completely. I'm inclined to say I didn't see much in the top floor, so it seems like they would ignore it for the moment. Let's see how that will play out through that round.
Yeah, now, a big thing to mention here that we've kind of lightly brushed over is the fact that Thatcher actually made it through the operator ban phase. We're going to see Tanzan on him for now, and we know just how powerful the Thatcher is. It's really good at getting rid of utility, disabling mute jammers, Wamais, Banshees, not Wamais, Maestros and Banshees. So a lot of that utility that we're seeing from Homeless can be quite easily countered by the presence of that Thatcher if they're able to keep him alive and utilize him appropriately.
Yeah, nice quotes coming up here from Thatcher, obviously. And yeah, that is in fact correct. Wamai continues to be banned throughout the matches, but it's Thatcher's first showdown here. It's first time on the scene.
Oh, a quick initial couple of kills. We're going to see one coming out from the Ash of Wanted before the Castle of Optic goes down straight after. So an even open engagement. I mean, the Ash, generally these days, her utilities are really important, having those 2 breaching rounds and those 3 flashbangs. There's a lot of use that you can get out of an Ash, whereas a Castle, much less utility once the round's actually begun. But this execute from Wanted is coming in very laterally, not trying to utilize any top floor control and taking the fight directly to Homeless.
Or is also engaging, and as you can see, it really works out the way it is intended by the defenders. White Swing coming in, and Max is also getting the shot landed onto Linko. That is one more attacker, and that is also one important attacker off the board. So that will leave us alone with no more Hard Breacher on the attacker side. Sledge will also have to say goodbye for the moment. Aris gets his second kill. Azox has to say goodbye for the moment as well, and it leaves us with two, no, only one last attacker. And that is it already for the first round. Homeless basically sweeps the board right away and shows us what they have prepared for their first matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, sort of briefly touched on it earlier, Wanted trying to take the fight directly to Homeless, and sometimes it works, but right there, Homeless were just so prepared for everything that Wanted to do, and just completely tore them apart, winning all the gunfights they needed to, and they only lost one player in the process, and that's the guy with the worst gun in the game. So you can't really fault him too much. So I mean, Wanted had the opportunity to go up above. All of that was just free for the taking. There was a roamer up there at one point, but the Ash had cleared out a lot of it, and they could have just taken that control and done a more typical execute down onto the site, or at least applied pressure into the players on the site, instead of just going straight into the jaws of death.
Definitely, and the next bomb spot is, again, an interesting one. We are going to see Library and Living Room coming up next. Seems like this time we are also going to see a top floor defense set up, but we are not seeing the typical bomb spots we are usually seeing, and I really like it. I mean, it did play out well at first. I mean, trying to analyze the last round, right? Team Wanted definitely wanted to go for gunfights. They were not trying to go for much map control. They were not going for top floor at all. They were just directly facing next to Library. They wanted to get, you know, as quick into the bomb site as possible. It is an interesting approach, but it didn't work out. So I'm really looking forward to see how this next round plays out. Because getting top floor, especially on Library and Living Room, is much stronger and much more important, to my opinion. So the interest should be there, but Optic will be punishing, like being exposed on the study balcony, not having a really nice time starting into that match. The second time he is the first frag as well. I bet he's not really happy.
No, not going to be too chuffed with himself after that one. But I'm just really intrigued by these bomb sites, because Homeless obviously picked this map, but Wanted chose to start out on attack, so they're going to be confident with these executes that they're doing. But I think Homeless are just showing that they know the map so much better and can just go for all of these off-sites and win them. If we see Homeless take this round, it's going to set a very, very strong basis that even when it comes to these atypical sites, Homeless still have the advantage.
It's really hard to answer for me the question if we are seeing Homeless winning because they're not picking the usual sites. At the same time, Linku takes out Foster and equals the man count out again. So equal man count for the rest of the match for the moment. But of course, everything is still open for the players to prove us wrong and prove us differently. But let's not forget, they are fighting for top floor control. Top floor control first. Next one to die here will be Azox, and Maxos goes crazy with a double kill. And one more for ours. It's up to Thamson. He's the last one alive from his team. Has to stand against 4 other guns pointed at his face. Next White Peak might be coming in here, as we can see from Optic very soon. Is he aware? No, he doesn't seem to be aware of it too much. So Thamson might get a kill on him landed quite soon, but he decides not to counter Pig and not to shoot back. He will be unrevealed for the moment, but of course time is definitely ticking down for him, and he's just stalling time right now. Let's see. They might go into the next gunfight really soon, but they're not. They are really just waiting for each other, and that is really intelligent. And taking the top floor control for as long as possible as a defender and keeping it is really, really important. Peak coming in from Maxis. This time he will be shut down. Thamson takes one, but will be immediately refragged from ours. And that is the second round for Homeless.
Yeah, Maxis and ours both getting 2 Ks, trying to defend upstairs, and just, I mean, Wanted had no control for quite a lot of that. They got into 90 a little bit. They got into aviator maps sort of area, but they weren't able to get anything done. And I don't know if taking the fight directly to Homeless is what Wanted want to be doing right now. I know we've only seen 2 rounds, and it could just be that Wanted, you know, they didn't get their warm-up scrim quite right. They weren't expecting these maps, this kind of style of game, so we might see them liven up as time goes on. But these first 2 rounds have been very one-sided, in my opinion.
That was a question basically I wanted to ask, right? Did we see Homeless coming out on top because of that bomb spot? Or is it just Team Wanted having a hard time into the match, right? I mean, let's not forget about it, right? It's still already late in the evening for some people out there. Maybe as you mentioned, they didn't get the warm-up scrim quite set up, and therefore they're not warmed up as much as they would be. But that is not an excuse. I mean, we are playing CCS right here, right? There's no mistakes to be made. Everything is on the line almost every moment, and you should play like it. So I hope Team Wanted does wake up really soon. Otherwise, it's going to look really good for Homeless.
Yeah, and well, this is a double elimination format, so regardless of which team loses here today, they will still have a chance to stay in the competition and fight on forwards, but you don't want to be going down into that lower bracket early on. You want to be staying in the upper bracket for as much as you can and give yourself a better shot later on down the line.
Absolutely. We see Ash sneaking in through the basement, not falling for the moment. But it's only 30 seconds into the round, so everything is still open. Like finds his way in. No, it's the Ash dying once again. Optic finds the opening frag, takes a really big amount of HP damage in return, but it's an advantage early on for Homeless once again in one of the most lagged bomb spots for all the teams out there. That definitely hurts on Team Wanted's shoulders.
Yeah, and I think that kill coming through from Optic sort of really personifies what we've seen so far from Wanted, is that they've not had the intel when they're going for these plays. That Ash had no idea right up until the last second where Optic was and lost his life because of it, and it's something that's attributed, something that I'm going to attribute at least, to some of these kills before, but that is a beautiful kill by Deadshot, landing the head onto Merxes. And now Optic is left isolated over by Deer for the time being.
They take their time getting into Astronomy. Also, Flashbacks coming in to get Deer as well. But of course, they do take quite a bit of time. Linku finds the frag onto Optic. That is a really big deal for them because now they can work their way further into the bomb spot. Ours has to retreat, kind of falling back down the red stairs. So map control is gained a lot right here, right now. Definitely a big win already for Team Wanted. They have to continue like that. They have to keep up the momentum if they do want to come out on top in that one. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard. Deadshot landing the headshot onto Foster. Next one collected as well. That does look really good. Impact tricking still is a thing. Deadshot finds one more. That's his triple kill. It's up to ours right now. He has to clutch this time around. It did look completely different the last 2 rounds, but now everything is possible. Ours not 100% aware where the others are, but he finds the headshot. Beautiful. But Azox finished it off, and that is the first round for Team Wanted.
Yeah, they looked much more comfortable attacking that sort of more typical site. So I think part of what we saw from those previous 2 rounds was just unfamiliarity with how they want to execute onto Library and Dining, which, you know, isn't as much as a worry. I think I might have overreacted with those initial couple rounds, but Wanted, hopefully, you know, they're sort of settled in now, and I mean, Deadshot, just getting that beautiful triple kill, starting off with the pixel perfect headshot into Merxes.
Definitely. I mean, seeing the score right now, 2-1. Nothing too crazy, nothing too bad for both teams. I wouldn't say the match is already over, like speaking from that statistic. But having the lead, of course, already is really important. It's still a defender-sided map. You do want to come out on top as a defending team. But if Team Wanted can keep up the same momentum and the same energy and the same speed they just showed us the last round, it could still go their way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like fact, moving on to the Lion, I mean, he has been playing the Ash, trying to get in, be aggressive early on. He's only been rewarded 1 kill for it right back in the very first round, which his team inevitably lost. But to see the Lion, what does that scream to you?
Well, it could scream rush, but with the other operators lined up, I don't think we see that at first. It might be sort of a, you know, they're setting up their utility, trying to set up as much as possible, and then if the timer really ticks down for them and they really need to push, I think the line call is just going to come in, and with the utility, with the line of sights being open, then they can just go for the rush. But I might be proven wrong because the first line call does go out already, and we do see people sprinting throughout the map. Luckily, there's no one around, and this is what you mentioned earlier. Information is key in Siege. The drone was pre-placed and also acted on, so map control is gained without any interference. No! Like, once again taken out first. Maxes and Hours take the first shots because that shot is also off the leaderboard. That's Sophia and also Lion gone. Massive amount of utility gone, and once again the advantage is on Homeless.
Yeah, just as the infographic pops up saying that Likefact was the opening kill 3 rounds in a row, he decides to go out there and prove us wrong and be the opening kill 4 rounds in a row. And to be the Lion to go down, you've only used one of those EE1Ds. It's a lot of utility that's going to be left out there and not available to be used as, oh no, Ours. He's might be able to line up this C4 perfectly, but if he steps out too far, he could get caught by the Zofia. The C4 pops, and Tamsin loses about half of his health, but Ours, for the time being, will be able to get away safely.
But luckily, not gonna lie, I was also able to go up the red stairs once again. Some utility coming out into Astronomy, trying to burn the ADSs and get rid of Goyo here, as we can see, but he's not falling back for too much. He's actually just going to rotate a little bit further next to the desk. Grenade coming in from below, but at the same time, Thamson is the one taking up the first opening frag onto Optic, which means Astronomy is completely free for them to go, but they also have to play for it. Only 1 minute to go, not much time to work with it, but they do have already a foot in the door, so they could manage to get out on top for this round. As we can see, the defenders already are, of course, knowing what is going to happen to them, so they're relocating themselves, trying to get their eyes focused onto Astronomy and hold on the ankles open. And as we can see, Linku does not stand chance. Foster is the one to finish the frag off as well, and Foster with the TCSG in hand collects another one. It's once again up to 1. No, it's over once again. Homeless, what are you doing?
I mean, Foster's, I want to know what training he's been doing with that TCS G12, because, you know, since they nerfed it, whenever I use it, I'm there and I hit people 5 times and they just still kill me. So I want whatever training program Foster's is going to provide, if it's going to make me as good with the TCS G12 as he was there. Because those are some very nice, very quick kills with players with fully automatic assault rifles pressuring down on him in the final few seconds.
Absolutely. I do want to know, actually, why does Like have such a hard time getting into this match? Because they do have the information for him, right? It's not like there's no information which they're working on. No, they do have the drones coming out. They do have calls going on, I suppose. But yet he's the 4th round in a row where he fell first.
Yeah, I really don't know what's going on there. I mean, he is generally... Well, for the first 3 rounds, he was in that very sort of solo push Ash role, so I guess the drone may have missed something, or he extends beyond the drone, gets himself caught out at an angle, not entirely sure where he's died from in each of these rounds, but it's... It's just a little bit of miscommunication or misinformation, I think, that's working its way over to him, so he's not quite understanding what he needs to do or where is actually safe to go. But that round with Lion, I think he needs to be playing much more safely for the time being, just to get himself more settled into the rhythm of this match, because to be the opening death 4 times for his team is... It's gonna start adding up, and it's gonna start being really detrimental if this is a continuous trend throughout the entire day.
Absolutely. Next round already started for the moment. Setup is still going on for the defenders. We are seeing Kitchen and Dining once again as a chosen bomb spot. We did see Homeless coming out on top already on that bomb spot. Will they be able to continue? Like, at least will continue to be aggressive. He will continue to be Ash. He will continue to be aggressive throughout the map, trying to get map control as fast as possible and as much as possible as well. Deadshot also helping him out with the dronage. But I do like to see that we are seeing top floor control being approached first right now. We did see the first round, Dining was actually attacked directly with sort of no support from like angle wise and whatever, but now they're taking top floor control. They do have to fight for it, of course. It will not be gifted, but I do like that approach. Let's see if Like will the first time ever not be the first one dying, but actually have an impact on the round. I definitely think he wants to have that done. Thamson though will be the first one to frag onto ours. That is Melusi gone. I suppose also the C4 gone. At least the utility is still up, so not a massive loss on Homeless side, but of course the advantage is there for Team Wanted. If they can work with it, they do have a really good time right now.
Yeah, and Wanted taking the fight to wherever the defenders are. We saw it in the first round, they wanted to go for the lateral pressure, and now with more of a top floor hold coming through from Homeless, they're attempting to challenge it directly. But they are attempting to open up that laundry closet wall. There are still players inside of the site who can have an impact, and players up in master bedroom. It was never cleared out, so that's going to be Linku going down and Deadshot being eliminated straight after. Ryber is going to be the beneficiary of that kill.
Well, Ryba is not only going to be beneficiary for that kill, also for two more. Thamson, though, will be finally able to refrag, and that is a 2v2 now, finally. As we can see, now we're getting into the final standoff. The attackers are finally going to relocate themselves. As we can see, Like still being alive, R4C in hand. Possible that he gets a shot landed very soon, but Optic, of course, is totally aware of the situation and just does wait for him with the Vector in hand. And that gun does a really big amount of damage. Let's not forget about that. On the other side, we see Thamson also pushing forward and has to face up against Maxes really soon. So two people, two gunfights. Like will actually get both of them. And he proved us wrong. He died 4 rounds in a row first, but now he does have the final impact needed to win that next round. And we continue with a 3-2 scoreline.
Yeah, and I think the big thing there is he was playing much more passively. He was in charge of eliminating the flank coming down from red stairs. So you saw him directly underneath the 90 cam, just prone there, making it really difficult for if anyone's trying to leave either statue or trophy and go down red stairs to flank his teammates, he's right there to be able to get those kills. And then as the top floor pressure started to dissipate, he went over to assist the attack itself. And playing in that more passive role, not directly taking those gunfights, really working out well for him there. And I think that's just what we need to see from him, because you can be a fragger without just, you know, trying to walk in and click everyone's head in the first 30 seconds. Playing a bit more methodically and with the team is just as valuable.
Absolutely. That is correct. And I think I would like to take the moment to thank our great sponsor for CCS Season 5, TabStats. Currently, we are simulcasting through Twitch to tabstats.com, so if you haven't checked them out, you can do so without missing any CCS action. So thanks a lot for coming in clutch here and supporting us.
5 seconds left before insertion.
All right, next round, next chance for Team Wanted. Dean, what do you think? I mean, we have seen 5 rounds so far. In which way does the pendulum swing?
I mean, Wanted to start out on attack here. They actively chose to be the attacking side, so I think that if they are unable to win this round and tie us up at a 3-3, it's gonna look pretty bad for them. I mean, things may entirely change when the halves switch, but for the time being, to make it easier for Wanted moving forward, and for me to be at least a little bit more optimistic about their chances, they need to come out on top in this round. And they were able to do so previously. This was actually the first round that they won, attacking this site, but they're going to need a repeat performance this time around.
Absolutely. Massive damage already dealt to ours, so the first little gunfight being lost there already. But nothing too bad because he is still alive, and we did see, even though he might have not as much HP as his opponent, he can still, of course, win the gunfight. It's still Siege. One-shot, headshot still applies to every gunfight whatsoever. For the moment, no one will fall within the first minute, but time, of course, is still the massive factor for the attacker, so they do have to push down faster with a TCSG pistol as well to collect not 1 but 2 kills. Thamson reacting a little bit late, falling as well. Foster, what is going on? That is his 4K.
just completely eliminating the entire side of Wanted. Linku is going to recover one, but it's all 1 versus 4 now, and I really don't see this happening. Foster, he didn't even lose half his HP, just completely shredding through everyone on the side of Wanted.
Defender is approaching the kill zone.
I think I need some cookies to calm back down. Linko finds one, finds another. That is 3 for him to collect. They still might be able to get turned around by him. He does have enough HP, and as we can see, ours being really low, so that this will definitely be interesting.
Yeah, he does have utility by the defenders still to deal with. We see some of ours Banshees. We see one positioned on the main stairs, one likely going to be one over by these red stairs. Yep, we see it at the bottom. So potentially an audio call going to go on out and alert Homeless to his position. But he's been able to do a good job of getting those first 3 kills. These last 2 is what it all comes down to. Ours, as you mentioned, very low HP, will go down to just 1 shot, and that's a very premature C4. He's going to be fine to get on in, and he's actually going to try and go for a plant behind the vault door, faking it out with the audio, but Ours, well, he's not going to miss anything there as he gets the headshot, and that's going to be Linku going down, and, well, Homeless getting 4 rounds defending on Villa.
4 rounds, 4 wins, as you mentioned, for Homeless. Now they do have to show as well in attack what they're able to do. Team Wanted now on defense, and yeah, you mentioned it. Team Wanted wanted to be on attack, right? It didn't look like they prepared specifically for their attack. It rather looked like a default approach I see from most teams out there which are playing on a really high level. You don't necessarily, of course, need a strategy if you can communicate quite well with your teammates, but I really hope they have something prepared on defense, or at least can come out on top on defense. Otherwise, this might be a really one-sided match. 4-2, as you mentioned, the pendulum swings for the moment towards the defenders, but nonetheless, it's a defender-sided map, so it might go the other way around now for Team Wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wanted going to start us off a little bit more standard than what we saw from Homeless going over to Statue. They are additionally making a rotate into Master Bedroom, using one of those triple walls as a rotation. More than likely going to use Castle to barricade off the window, just to give themselves a little bit more flexibility if they want to extend. This is generally indicative of them expecting Homeless to go for a study side clear instead of directly aggressing onto Master Bedroom.
5 seconds remaining.
Absolutely. And I really like, though, that we are going to see different bomb sites now. I mean, we did see, of course, Statue Trophy already, but it's a different approach, right? Seeing kitchen, dining, seeing living and library coming in is really weird because a lot of teams don't do that. It shakes off your opponent and they have to get more creative in their way of attacking. But, of course, seeing the default spots, also we as casters know where the mistakes happen and where the benefits happen, and that was a little mistake from Like. Maxis takes him out, and once again, also on defense, he will have a hard time getting into it. Falling first, definitely, of course, a big deal, because, of course, that also means a lot of map control will fall into the hands of the attackers. As I mentioned, we do know how important map control is if you attack top floor. Much more important on Villa because it's a defender-sided map, so definitely, of course, a big win here for the attackers.
Yeah, and that's the 5th time now that he's been the opening death for his team. You know, it might sound like we're banging a broken drum, but it is a very important point to make, being that opening death consistently. It's going to be a lot of utility taken away from your team. You know, being a Valkyrie, you've got the C4 in hand, and you can be really pivotal when it comes to those late round situations in denying the plant. So a real shame that he's once again been taken out early on, but Homeless is doing a really good job. They've already established all of the south side control and are actually starting to directly aggress upon the site with about 1:25 still to go.
That is correct. 4-2 still the score. Nothing changed for the moment. As you can see, the attackers are having a hard time now locating the defenders. They're using the drones heavily right now. They're trying to find the weak spots of the defensive setup and then, of course, come in between. But for the moment, the defenders can sit out and no one will fall. But time, like said, is ticking down for the attackers, so they do have to get to aggressive. Linku seems to be completely aware of the situation, and the attackers do seem to be completely unaware of that roam, and he might have a big impact as well. C4 will come out. Unfortunately, not onto anyone. Ryba makes his way into the bomb spot, actually being in the door right away, planting the diffuser. Securing is there as well. Deadshot finds 2 for him. Alex finds 1 as well. But Maxis is the one as well to find 1. So many shots going into either direction. But the defenders take it. They stopped the diffuser plan. That saved them.
Yeah, somehow they were able to reclaim control over master bedroom. We saw the Jaeger playing close to that triple wall rotate, and he landed the shot on the players outside on the window. I do believe it was the Nomad out there. So by getting that kill, allowed him to swing on round. Mexis can only hold so many angles. He was already low HP at the start of that, having to hold the push on into the site through from Split and Astro. And just too many angles, just gets completely overwhelmed. We didn't quite catch Deadshot's double kill elsewhere, but that just eliminated the entire support network for the post-plant situation. And a brilliant sort of retake mid-plant coming through by Wanted there.
Absolutely. And I like to see Team Wanted now coming in clutch. Like, as a team, it looks like all they needed was coming onto the defensive side, right? They look much more well-structured, much more prepared, much more playing as a team as we did see them on attack. Even though they lost their first gunfight, right? I just want to highlight that once again, they had the early disadvantage because they lost they lost a lot of map control. They still came out on top. So that is a big deal, even though you don't realize that at first, right? And I would still like to highlight Homeless fighting their way into the bomb spot and trying the plan, right?
Yeah.
So really sneaky, also really well played for them, but being unaware of your flanks does cost you the round, and that was just a beautiful example of that.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has
Yeah,
been dropped.
and
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
we are seeing this sort of distribution on the side of Wanted in terms of fragging power. Players are having to step up. We see Linku on 8 kills already. Deadshot's got 5. Like, he does still manage to have 3, but they've come in 2 rounds. One, the very first one where he traded out almost immediately, and then the last attacking round that Team Wanted won, where he was able to collect a double kill. It's been pretty rough for them. They've had to have these moments where individuals have stepped up massively, whereas over on the side of Homeless, we've got Ours on 6 kills, Foster on 7, Merx is on 7 as well, and then Optic and Ryber, they've been filling in some more of those supporting roles all throughout, so we're not expecting them to have a huge kill total, but it is just showing that on Wanted, it's individual rounds where one player pops off, whereas on Homeless, it's the entire team coordinating and being very effective consistently.
Yeah, that is true. And I mean, that is what you need, especially on Villa. On attack, it's much harder to structurize your attacks and to really sort your things out and get your foot into the door, as I said earlier. But yeah, we did not see a beautiful job from Team Wanted at first. Now we are seeing it on defense. But Homeless now, they look really strong on defense. Really, I want to be serious about this. They really look like well sorted out, well structured. They had strats prepared as well. They played off bomb spots. But now on attack, they do really struggle. Even though they might pick up some gunfights and win, later on, they do seem to struggle. Impact tricking as well working out in favor of the defenders for the moment. So the second X-Cairo pair has to fly towards the wall. And I think... yeah, nothing will be able to get that. I'm really impressed how the drone could stay alive there. But yeah, the wall to vault will be open, so a line of sight from the window can be generated as well. You just have to be aware, Optic, that there might be a defender peeking your way any second. That's what just happened. Luckily, no one fell to that. No one died, but 45 seconds roughly left on the clock, and only vault being opened. Definitely more pressure has to be generated on the attack from the attackers onto the defenders.
Linku without a care in the world, a barefaced challenge onto that window from inside of vault. doesn't cost him his life. We're still in a 5 versus 5. The first time we've been in this situation with less than 30 seconds to go, and Homeless, they're stacking it for an execute coming on in through that north balcony door, that north landing doorway. But the smoke is still alive, and Ours is going to lose a lot of HP. So is Optic, as he's trying to push on in for the plant. Ours has gone down behind Maps, and that's part of the cover gone. There's a C4 coming on out. Optic goes down. Kills going back and forth. It's currently in favor of Homeless, actually, as the plant is going to be retried. A brilliant shot by the Goyo to try and come on in. It's going to be finished off by Ryber, and now it's just Deadshot. 1 versus 2. Ryber sticking the plant yet again behind that vault doorway with the IQ holding the cross on in through vault. Oh, just the timing working out in favor of Deadshot. He's aware of where the diffuser is and seems to have a pretty decent idea of where the attackers are, lighting up Ryber but taking a lot of damage in return. Foster, he's still on full HP and is in a very good position to be able to deny this, but the ping's coming through. The Valk having a great idea. Some pre-fires, but not going to land any shots just yet, and he's going to actually get the kill. Foster going down. Ryber's below. He's the one who can try and deny this to the best of his ability, but Deadshot has no idea. He's still trying to find him and isolate the kill. Ryber from beneath is going to give Homeless a round number 8 and a nice, sizable round advantage now.
That was really close, not gonna lie, but Ryber really nice repositioning to go down below, use that opened hole there, and of course take care of the situation, and just leaving Foster fighting in study for the moment. And that was a big waste of time. So Valkyrie, Deadshot had really to fight Foster first, wasted a lot of time, and then of course Sledge could just wait until Valkyrie had to walk back into the bomb spot. Beautifully played by Homeless. They take it to 5-3, 1 point away from match point, 2 points away from their win. On the other side, we do see Team Wanted 3 points for them. So 3 for match point and 4 to win. A long way to go, but so far 1 defense lost, 1 won. So it still could go in either way. Dino, I'm asking you again. I asked, I think, 4 rounds before. After what we've seen now, Team Wanted on defense, what do you think, from your experience, how could this turn out?
Well, it could potentially go any number of ways at this moment in time. They're going back to Aviator games. We didn't see Homeless repeat a bomb site. They were always willing to switch it up. And Wanted, they were very close to be able to win that last round, so I'm not too surprised that they go here again, but again, like as I was talking at the start of that round, it comes down to individual players having great individual rounds. Deadshot was almost able to have one there to get the win for his team, but was just unable to do so, and that's why, partly why Homeless was able to get it. A lot of that was going Homeless's way for a very long period of time, and oh, Linku almost falling very early on because that wall wasn't reinforced. Wanted, what is going on?
I don't know if they're nervous because they're casted, or they're nervous because they're playing CCS, or they're just, you know, trying to figure things out on their way. But of course, that could have been much worse than it is. Luckily, Linku came away alive. Did take almost a quarter or more than a quarter of his life damage, but luckily, like I said, he stayed alive for Wanted. Of course, Homeless almost got that kill secured. I mean, I can really feel how sad you are as an attacker. You almost get that shot landed while he's still reinforcing late, and then he just continues, right? He just continues to reinforce, and he hides behind the reinforcement. That has to be really sad.
Yeah, but I Wanted just almost gifting that as a complete freebie. That would have been disastrous, because Linku, he's got the most amount of kills on the side of Wanted. He's been sort of their point man through a lot of these rounds, and for him to have died early on, if he'd actually gone down there, that's just more and more momentum building up for the side of Homeless, and in my opinion, they've already got more than enough to be able to close this game out right here.
Absolutely. I mean, this round particularly is looking really good. They seem to work their way further throughout the map much quicker, and like I said, Deadshot finds the frag onto ours, so the first one going forward into the map is punished at first, but it's only the Sophia luckily not the Hibana, which is still being needed a lot. Ash charge being chucked in, but catched by an ADS. Azox, the white peak with the Vector. Nice shot onto Max's head, so the second attacker has to say goodbye as well. This is looking really, really good for Team Wanted again. I mean, this is really hard to cast. It just swings once in a while into each of those two team sides. For the moment, Team Wanted looking really strong on that round. 30 seconds. Dino, please.
As you mentioned, less than 30 seconds to go. 3 versus 5, Homeless trying to find their execute. They don't have that steady control, but, well, they eliminated from the side of Wanted, as that is going to be Optic hitting a very nice headshot. That means Foster is in a beautiful position now to deny the Vault rotate, meaning that if Optic's able to get on in and plant, and he actually shoots out the C4, damages his teammate in doing so, but the C4 getting denied means that the plant can be successful. Deadshot going to get a team kill and then one onto the opponents, and now, what? The round just ended! All those kills happened at the same time. Goyo getting 2 right at the end, and Team Wanted staying alive.
Team Wanted makes the difference less. 5-4. We could see them actually tying, and then also, of course, overtaking Homeless. That round looked good for most of it. Then I was really asking myself, what is going on? Especially the C4 being, of course, being saved, as I want to mention, and also the plant going down, but the hold itself from the attackers kind of fell apart as all these defenders just came in going for the gunfights. I didn't expect all these defenders just to go for the gunfights and came out on top eventually, but that is what I like to see, right? Attackers and defenders do have to fight for it, right? We are not playing casual siege here. These teams are fighting for something, and that's how we want to see it, right? We want to see them fight. We want to see them put all their energy into it. Show us what they have prepared, and I'm sure they do have something prepared for today and for the season. And I want to see them legit fighting for their lives.
Absolutely. But, I mean, it was so close. They were able to get... The Homeless were able to successfully get the diffuser down when it was a 3 versus 5, less than 30 seconds to go, and if I remember correctly, Wanted actually brought a smoke to that round, meaning that smoke was still up and had the possibility to deny the plant. But it got really hairy right at the end. I think just the sheer numbers of players on the side of Wanted finally starting to come through as those trades exploded in the final few seconds. But it did come right down to the wire, and it could have swung either way. Homeless are still going to be my favorites at the moment on this map.
Like, once again, showing us the early aggression. MP5 in hand. Not finding something for the moment, but of course the drones are also worthy of the peak because it's basically denying utility for free. He didn't risk anything too much at first, and he wasted at least a little bit of time because now the attackers do have to get their second drones out or have to relocate themselves as well, as we can see as well right now. So good deal for him, and he could stay alive. Normally I wouldn't mention that, but I think especially for like in today's match, it's worthy to be mentioned. Maxis though really does know there was a defender earlier. He just tries to go for gun checking, face checking, as you like to call it as well. But like has set up himself in 90, and that is a really favorable position. If they can't flood him out of there, they will struggle later on as well. The castle barricade on the window now will be open on 90, so the pressure increases, and he does have to retreat as well. So really, really good positioning and also really good utility usage there of Maxes. They do know how to approach this map. You can clearly see that from that.
Yeah, but Linku knows how to take gunfights, and that's going to be Optic going down the Hibana off the board. And that's pretty massive because there's going to be no more hard breach available on the side of Homeless. They're going to have to go in through these single doorways, and seeing as Ash's already used up 2 of her breaching rounds, it's going to be a little bit less utility to be able to deal with those castle barricades. This isn't looking particularly good for Homeless here, but we saw how close it came in the last round where they had basically no shot in hell, that I'm not willing to count them out. Oh, okay, maybe I am. Like back getting that one onto Nexus. Just a great C4.
Ryba being able to refrag onto Linku with a beautiful shot coming up there, kind of making it almost close again, but still the favor is there for Team Wanted on the defensive side. They do have to find the way now on top. Otherwise, it's going to be the match point for Homeless. Homeless on the other side, 3 people left alive, as we could just see the utility being chucked out as well. They do want to get rid of that closet hold, and it looks like it is clear, but it isn't, because Deadshot is still there. But it looks like also Foster is aware of that situation. Not completely. The dancing around the pole for the moment. 2v1 is going to be up to Foster actually in the end, because Diffuser could go down in the meantime. And Diffuser is planted kind of safely, kind of not. Foster finds one onto Deadshot. That was the headshot. It's up to Foster, but it's also up to Thamson. 1v1 situation, time ticking down. 20 seconds, not much, but Foster doesn't care. How could he win that? Oh my goodness.
The ring around the Rosie inside of the closet. Oh my days. Foster able to just pull these multi-kills out of nowhere. But Wanted had so much opportunity to go for the defuse right there. Our observer Medics, who's doing a wonderful job today, has just highlighted to us that he could have actually gone for the disable 3 times in the length of time that it took Foster to go for the repositioning. They got those kills nice and early onto the planter and the guy directly covering him, that if they just invested on someone committing to the disable, and I think they could have long-armed it from the other side of the statue door in a very, very safe position. But just the miscommunication, the misunderstanding of where Foster is, it just let that round slip away.
You know, that is the advantage of having a Pro League highest tier observer on board with us, right? He's also at the same time analyzing and giving that to us via chat, so big shout out to him. And yeah, as he mentioned, it could have been one already for Team Wanted. Kind of, it seemed like the communications were down for the moment. I think they wanted to leave it all to the gunfight, but in the meantime, it could have been diffused already. So a little bit of a missed situation. For the moment, we will see Homeless with match point. All it takes for them is to win one more round, and they will win the first map. And yeah, it could go their favor. I'm really inclined to say it could go their favor. They did win a really big amount of defenses already. Now we will see statue and trophy once again. So if they can bring it back once again, it might already be over for the first map. But Team Wanted is still Team Wanted. They are still aggressive, as we can see. Like is still like. This time he's not punished, but he's also not rewarded with a kill. So nothing dirty going on at first.
Like has actually managed to die every single round, and I believe he's the only player in the lobby to do so. That aggression paying off in very, very small doses. It's not being as effective as I think sort of Team Wanted, well, want or need it to be. It's being really detrimental to how they're going for these players and these final executes. I understand that sometimes you'll have a player in your team who sort of plays solo compared to the rest of you, but if they're not doing a good job at staying alive and getting at least 1-2 kill or able to waste 1 minute 30, how much value are they really bringing to the team? And at the moment, I don't think Like's doing all that much, although he is going to be able to get that kill onto Nexus, which is a very strong opening frag.
Trading Jaeger against Ash. Really good trade for both teams, but of course the utility being wiped off the board for the attackers from Maxes. Both the flashes, but also, of course, the breaching rounds. So big favor, I would say, already for the defenders, and also the favor will be extended as Thamson shot onto ours. Azox, beautiful shot with the UMP in hand onto Optic. 2 last attackers, but Azox, of course, being 1 HP due to that gunfight. That air jab is not really going to do much for the moment, but it reveals his position. 2v4 situation looking really, really good for Team Wanted, but they also need that. It's match points against them. They do need to win this round.
Potentially hoping that that air jab would knock Azox out of his position and into the line of fire, but for the time being, Homeless don't really have much of a way in. All of the entrances are covered. They've run out of hard breach. They've not really been able to get rid of too much utility with their soft breach up to this point so far, and the diffuser is actually inside a bathroom, and that's going to be Azox to get yet another kill, meaning it's all left up to Ryber. 1 versus 4. They know he's in the closet, and it's going to be Tamsin to finish him off. Wanted yet again staying alive, not letting a Homeless get 2 consecutive rounds here. But it's still not looking too good for them because they've only been able to play 2 bomb sites. They've not had that sort of ability to mix it up and go elsewhere on the map.
Absolutely. But this defense and all the defenses we've seen so far just show how equal these teams are. Basically, like, we did see on this defense round now, stat trophy being won by the defenders. We also did see stat trophy being won by the attackers. Before, we did see aviator games being won by the attackers and also by the defenders. It seems like a game of who adapts more, and that is Siege, ladies and gentlemen. Siege is a game where you have to adapt to the situation. You do necessarily
Defenders protect
need to
the
adapt
bombs
to your
from being
opponent,
defused by attackers.
and if you're not able to do that perfectly, you might really have a big problem. For the moment, these two teams are adapting, I think, as much and as good as possible. 6-5, really close in the end, but we're not over. We could still potentially go to overtime. Homeless also could, of course, finish up with the next round. I am really nervous in which direction we will go.
Yeah, I kind of, I didn't make this prediction at the start of the game, so I could, you know, just let this one slide and be like, oh yeah, I figured it would be this close and would be potentially seeing overtime. But I really thought that Homeless would be able to deal with Wanted in a much more succinct fashion, especially considering that they were starting out on the
Attackers are moving
defense.
out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
And they did get that 4-2 advantage, which is generally what you want to see. But Wanted are doing a really good job as well when it comes to their own defenses, and they're not going down without a fight. They are really sticking around in this game. And if this goes to overtime, I mean, at that point, it could just swing either way.
Like, being the open frag for so many rounds this time, he says, no, I want the opening frag. Ours, Sophia, gone. Massive frag. This could be the round bringing them to overtime, and they want it. They are fighting for it, and like is still like, right? Honestly, I love to see how aggressive he is, but also sometimes he's rewarded with it, sometimes he isn't. He doesn't give up. Almost like a life mantra you can follow: never give up.
Yeah, he's got that great mentality to just, doesn't matter if he's lost 10 fights in a row, he's still going to try and get aggressive and, you know, go for those duels every single time, which is really what you want to see from some of your more aggressive players. But this is a great retreat by Wanted. Yes, those ADSs have been sort of left behind and destroyed, so they won't have them to be able to cover them inside of the site, but being able to recover one of those Goyo shields and reposition it to deal with where this push is going to be coming from now, that's going to be a really good job, and it's going to deny a bit more utility.
Definitely, and I like the way they adapt even throughout that round. Like, Goyo picking up his shield once again and repositioning it is really a good idea, because, for example, this time you don't see 90 control being approached by the attackers for the moment at least, and you can just work with it, right? You can reposition your shield, now play behind it and take care of main stairs, which is more or less going to be one of the next targets for the attackers. Raiva dies to, I think it's a grenade, I think. Nade from below on Goyo shield. Thanks a lot. And that is the frag. That is the trade very late for ours. But now we do have a man count tie again. Only 1 minute left to go. Breach is there as well. Really good setup for the attackers as well.
Yeah, there's no smoke on the board this time for Wanted, which means that those last second plants are going to be a little bit easier. They're not going to have to contend with those toxic babes, but there are still plenty of C4s available. There's going to be 2, one in the hands of Deadshot, one in the hands of Tamsin. And Deadshot is actually playing below, which, you know, Homeless did have control of, but they've since forfeited it. And if he's able to remain down there and get intel inside of the site, he can just bide out his time and wait for the execute. But it's going to be Foster to get the opening frag in this final stage of the round when they're going for the execute, and he's going to eliminate the Malusi. And he's all the way inside of sight. He's in vault, and he's going to flank around and get Tamsin. Meanwhile, Merxis has gotten the kill onto Deadshot. I mean, it's all left up to Light to save his team from losing this game. He's out on the balcony just firing shots as the bomb's going down, but Foster, the inevitable March of Death, just walks straight at him, and that is going to be Homeless taking map number 1.
And that was a really hard fight in the end. I thought, especially after we did see the first rounds, Homeless might take it in quite a run, but we did see Team Wanted fighting for it. And oh my goodness, it was close in the end, but Homeless came out on top. That is their first win, and let's not forget who picked that map. That map has been picked by Team Wanted, so they basically lost the map they picked.
Homeless picked the map. It was Wanted who picked to start out on attack. So Wanted weren't as effective on their attacks as I think they were going to be, and that sort of, to me, shows that they went in with a lot of confidence with their Villa pick and were just blown away by how good
All right, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for that. We do have another map coming up next, Control, as we just mentioned. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and we will be back in a bit.
But really quickly, what do you expect these operator bans to be?
Honestly, especially after we have seen Thatcher on the table, I actually expect the same attacker band. So once again, 2 hard breaches, probably Maverick and Ace, but I might be totally off because we did see completely unexpected bans already. So that is just my guess, but let's see what we're actually going to witness here. First ban going to come in from Homeless, and it will be the Ace again. They apparently do not like to face this operator. Not gonna lie, it's a really strong hard breacher, of course, and especially on Consulate, where you do have some hard destructibility needed. Getting rid of that makes it easier to counter it. Next defender ban, and now finally we have it back again, is the Thatcher. Why did I think different, right? I mean, that was probably just an oopsie earlier on Villa, but now we do have that boy back again on the banned list. That is what we see from most teams right now as well, so nothing crazy going on here. Next ban is going to be the first defender ban coming in from Team Wanted. Wamai, we talked about it already. Wamai being banned quite often, not only on Villa, but also on Consulate. And Homeless being really serious about their next ban already, so that is going to come in right away. Valkyrie, which of course brings us with the option of Mira alive.
Yeah. Although Consulate is one of those maps where I'd say you don't need to ban a mirror because there's very few opportunities to actually be able to play the mirror successfully. There is the potential that you can use that sort of bathroom hold where if you're playing either downstairs or in piano, you can, set up a mirror inside a bathroom, and it looks like we might be seeing something similar to that. Although Homeless, forever keeping us on our toes, are going to go over to Archives and Tellers to begin with.
That is definitely going to be an interesting bomb site. Not something we see typically coming in first, but, I don't think this matchup today has been anywhere close to a typical matchup.
Absolutely. And we're seeing an Amaru being brought. I guess just being able to repel into the building normally to get into those opening gunfires isn't enough for him. He needs to fly in there in the first 3 seconds.
I mean, I would love to see that. I mean, that would be the kickoff for the first map. That would show them we are aggressive and we are still going to continue. But on the other side, I am afraid because Like picked the Amaru that he might just be the first one dying again.
Well, that's always the potential, but I'm liking this top floor hold that we're seeing coming through. The aggression over by admin. They're setting up a mirror window inside of the little staff room over there so that anyone repelling on those admin windows is going to have a really hard time getting in. They've also protected themselves a little bit from the paper window and have given themselves a decent amount of rotates to be able to successfully navigate the top floor. But he's just trying to get aggressive early again, already up onto that projector balcony, and could potentially catch people out by surprise.
Absolutely, especially since the defenders are going to hold with the top floor. It could be a surprise that Peak will come out as well, and he also has to expect the defender there, but unfortunately Foster was coming out on top of that gunfight, and is once again being the first one wiped off the leaderboard. Unfortunate, all I can say for that, but not a big loss. American doesn't have too much of utility, of course, so not a big utility loss, at least for that. Homeless, though, having secured the little first win. Also, the second one. What? Okay, Thamson is taken out, and Maxes found the frag on him, but also Azox is downed. Linku tries to go for the recover, but it still might be turning out against him because the Pulse is aware of the situation. Pulse down below, giving, of course, away all the information to the teammates. Could be tossing out a C4 soon. Yes, he will try, so it will go flying, but it will not land. What a lucky land for the attackers. They did not get punished too much, but of course Linku and also Azox are both low on HP for the moment.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Both 20 HP or less, and I think that might have been a missed fragnate to actually put Linku down. I don't think anyone on the attacking side dealt damage in that precise gunfight. There's going to be Deadshot to get the first kill for his team, and yeah, Linku got himself with the frag, but it's going to be Nexus to get the others, and that is going to be a Homeless taking round number 1. Yet again, these unorthodox sites catching Wanted out early on.
Once again, I'm really surprised to see how strong you can be on a bomb side, which when I play it, I completely get wiped out of this planet, out of this universe, if not even, right? And that just shows how as a team you can work much better together than individuals. And really, once again, we do see Homeless coming in with really weird bomb spots, at first at least, but just proving us wrong. They just prove us wrong. This is not a bomb site which is not played often or has a low win rate. No, in fact, they just win them. And that is what I like to see. They are showing us their creativity with not only operator picks, but also the bomb spot picks. And as you can see, this is shaking off Team Wanted.
I do have to attribute quite a bit of a Homeless success in that round, I think, to the presence of the Pulse. Being a Pulse down inside of that archives area, you can gain a lot of information because your Pulse scanner can actually see all the way up to the admin rappel, so we can, you know, help organize a defense that stretches all the way up to the top floor. And we also saw some more direct assistance in navigating or negotiating where the C4s should be placed, but just a great utility of that Pulse, and it looks like Homeless are going to try and bring out that mirror once again. The operator that I said, oh, it's Consulate. No one really plays mirror on Consulate. There's, you know, maybe like 1 or 2 sites you could bring it, but 2 rounds in a row now, they're going to try it out.
Mira, never a bad pick, but of course interested to see how she is played right here on soft walls, on crouch level. But yeah, let's see how she plays out. A question to just kind of sum up the last round as well is the first round we did see on Villa played out the same way. We saw an off bomb spot, but an aggressive attacker team, an aggressive Team Wanted. We did see that once again. Now, Dino, do you think the aggressivity was a problem as well? Like, if they would have taken top floor and worked their way down, it would have worked out differently?
I mean, the aggression works both ways. We didn't see Homeless shying away from any of those fights. I think it's just Team Wanted overextending themselves in a lot of these situations, but like, not overextending himself there, as he's going to get the opening frag this time onto Ryber, and in fact Optic is going to go down as well. I believe that was like to do the damage, and just Homeless, their aggression starting to be punished here as the attackers getting a little bit more used to it. It's all left up to Oz. He is able to get the first kill onto Light, and let's see if we're going to go on out to potentially deny it, and successfully deny the sledge up above. He's going to down the player with the diffuser outside of the garage, and he's turned this 1v5 into a 1v2, but it's going to be Tamsin pushing on into the garage to close it out.
So you talked about it and promised it to us. This is going to be aggressive. Well, that was the purest definition of aggression, I would say. I mean, we didn't see a rush, but I think that was really close to a rush. Team Wanted, well played, all I can say. I mean, especially like with the 3k for himself, not dying first, as well as a little win for him, but definitely tying right after, really, really good. I mean, the stats can go either way to say if a map is attacker or defender sided, but in reality the teams make these stats, and you can prove the stats wrong, you can prove casters wrong, you can prove whatever you want wrong if you know how to play a map. And Team Wanted did really look, they knew what they want to do next. They had a plan, they knew when they needed to be aggressive, but they also knew when they needed to be passive. For example, like as an Ash going into a drone, checking yellow stairs himself, checking if there's a defender coming up next, and having the utility right for himself just taking the time is really an important factor to mention, because you could just rush in as an Ashe if you get a kill. But play it settle if you need to, but also play it aggressive if you need to.
Yeah, and sort of this harks back to some of what we saw from like on Villa. The rounds where he wasn't just as excessively aggressive, the rounds where he took it a little bit easier and, you know, was on more of those fight walk positions and was taking these one-on-one gunfights where he was expecting where the fight was going to come from. It worked out a lot better for them, and they were able to win much more of those rounds, and he was able to personally be a lot more effective when we saw it both when they were attacking and when they were defending.
Absolutely. This time around, we do see main lobby and piano as the bomb spot. Ash charge being used properly to blow up the first Goyo Vulcan shield. So 50% of them are off the board. Yeah, so far nothing really happened. 45 seconds went down, and most of the time for the attackers went down by droning, getting the information, collecting it. They do have an IGL, as every team does do so, which means basically one person where all the lines are coming together. Ryber at the same time I'm talking, he just goes crazy and collects a kill onto Linku. Linku has to say goodbye when Maverick has to say goodbye, and as I mentioned, they do need to work with that information on the attacker side. This time around it didn't work out, but Maxis gets aggressive as well. You pointed out aggression will be the key to this match. Maxis is rewarded as well with a headshot. Beautiful shot there, and Homeless being in the lead in the driver's seat once again with 2 men up.
Yeah, Homeless's aggression coming at a much steadier pace this time in comparison to the last round where it was just all out. This gradual pace, this willingness to take those early fights is being rewarded so far, giving them those 2 opening kills with Deadshot and Linku, 2 very pivotal players on the Villa performance, already down and out, and that's going to be Mexis to get a third kill for his team as he's holding from upstairs. The Nomad just not pretty aware and challenging this very difficult angle straight on is gonna lose their life as well. It's all left up to Azox. He is gonna get Mexis, and a beautiful shot onto Optic. We've seen a lot of these rounds where the 1v5, the 1v4 gets really, really scary for the team with the advantage, but it's not gonna get any further out of control. Homeless gonna keep that one under wraps.
I love to see a match like this, right? Just aggression on either side, but that is what the score indicates as well. Like, we did see the first map where I first said, or you also said, Team wanted having a hard time into the match, right? Then they completely turned it around and was close in the end. And I think this match is even closer. They are fighting for every round, and legit, every round has been won so far from the team which hasn't won the round before. So really hard to say who's going to come out on top. For now, this is definitely a really good start for both of these teams. But of course, especially if I'm inclined to say for Homeless, because they won now the second round. It's not their map pick, so if they can come out on top on defense, it's definitely going to look really good for them. And all they need is 2 maps won, right? Let's not forget about that. It's a best of 3, so whoever wins 2 maps comes out as the winner.
Homeless, you know, as we mentioned, they have won that Villa, so this can be used as a bit of a buffer map. If you know, some teams are just, they don't really like playing Consulate. They feel it's too random, too aggressive, and it's very difficult to control. You come across these very well set in the meta, in the strategy teams who will take things at a snail's pace quite a lot of the time on these maps, and can be frightened by the aggression that you see sometimes on Consulate. But that doesn't appear to be Homeless. Homeless appear to be like, oh, yeah, we were kind of a bit bored playing Villa. We weren't able to jump out as much as we wanted to. We're gonna make up for that by just jumping out every single round so far.
Absolutely, and off to the races. Maxis has a 3K in both round 1 and 3 to start off on Consulate. At the same time, Ours takes a headshot onto Azox and wipes him off the leaderboard. Deadshot with a headshot onto Foster. Shots are flying into either direction. Beautiful shots landed, and it's a Sledge versus Mute trade-off, so 2 British operators did have to say goodbye already for the moment, but only 45 seconds went into the LAN, and yet I think we're going to see many more gunfights coming up very soon. this is still Consulate.
Yeah. Ours still being able to hold on to yellow stairs. So they used a lot of their utility to burn out the ADSs, but they didn't take control when ours wasn't there. In fact, they let it be so loose that ours has been able to get back into that position. He did use his C4 to try and get Deadshot off of this window, but it was unsuccessful. So that's a bit of wasted utility by the Malusi. I completely forgot the operator name for a second there, by Malusi, but still being able to hold onto that position can really work out well. Optic, oh, this could be the flank needed. He gets one, he's ready for the second, and actually deals a fair amount of damage onto, oh no, it was Linku who got damage dealt onto him, but it was Tamsin the one close by. But he's still going to be able to remain alive and pose a threat downstairs.
And advantage once again on Homeless side. But they do need to now see where they want to go, because 1 minute, not much left for them to work with it. Thamson seems to be willing to go up yellow stairs. Flashbang coming up as well, a little bit pre-fire. Bathroom, of course, will be his first target, because we do see through the wall, ours is just waiting for him, but he doesn't know, of course. So Thamson will be getting shot at probably quite soon, at least if ours doesn't rotate away. Deadshot tries to make some more pressure from the windows as well, but ours takes out Thamson, as we just talked about. Two last attackers alive to clutch the situation. Linku actually trying to get the roamer down, rid of, but he will not. Optic will land the shot, and it's also diffuser down. Refrag is there, but the diffuser is down in no man's land in main lobby. And it's up to Deadshot. No diffuser in hand. 3 people are watching him. If he wants to clutch this, he has to go for a gunfight. He seems to be aware of that, but Maxa seems so as well. So that one once again goes to Homeless, and they can just work on their lead.
Yeah, Max is just completely running through Wanted for the time being. I think, was that another 3K in that round?
I didn't count, but it could be. Yeah, it could be.
I think the Maxes and ours have just so consistently fragged out for these guys. And Foster, he was the shining light with 14 kills back on Villa and really led the way. Oh no, he only got 1 kill in that round. Oh, stop slacking, Maxes. I thought you were doing better than that. Come on, man. I was trying to hype you up. You only got 1 kill.
Hey, 1 kill. What could you do, mate?
It's not even worth talking about.
Yeah, actually. I mean, who is he even? Just kidding. Obviously, just kidding. I mean, as a team, Homeless is playing so well together. As you can see, of course, you will have people with few frags, like you just saw, for example, Ryva with only 1 frag, but it doesn't matter. That is your support. That is your sort of foundation where you can play off, right? As fraggers, as for example, a Vigil or a Jäger when you want to roam, or Optic, for example, as the main roamer in main lobby. All you need, oh, Maxus seems to have a little internet issue here, doesn't matter. As a main roamer, you do need that support on side or utility wise, otherwise you cannot frag out properly. So having few frags doesn't mean a lot in competition, in this competition, because it's down to the team play, right? And 3-1 just indicates that the synergy of Homeless starting here on Consulate is superb.
Once again, this early aggression Optic, he wants it, but that angle, you know, the attackers are going to be very aware of it, and there are some very safe spots you can actually challenge that from deep inside of the spawn, where the head, because of the way that the perspectives work in this game, the head hitbox may be slightly exposed while you can't quite see them, just due to the nature of the angles. But not going to fall to it just yet. We might see one happen later on in the round, or later on in the game, but for the time being, Team Wanted all staying alive and making a decent amount of headway into the building itself.
Correct. And Foster finally being rewarded. He was waiting for a really long time. Rewarded with the frag. That is Linku, and that is Hibana off the board. That definitely does hurt. On the other side, Archives, not a bomb where you really need a hard breacher, so not a massive loss, I would say. But of course, loss is loss. And the lead once again for Homeless is here. This map does seem to be their favor, and yes, they are marching forward. The attackers are marching forward, but Deadshot is getting taken out as well. And Maxis with another shot landed. The first one for this round to just keep the count running. Life will be fragging down though. Foster, finally, Foster is shut down as well. And like Collect said, frag quite easily. So a nice little trade going on there. 1 minute, roughly 30 seconds left. Jones coming up again. The attackers definitely, of course, do need to find their way down. But of course, information, as always, will be key. Life got spotted by tossing out his drone and joining down spiral stairs. Optic, of course, shot down the drone. But as we can see, Life is still aggressive. He still goes for face checking. He face checks the bomb spot. Luckily, there's only one on site to counter peeking. But Optic peeks around him as he looks away. But Hazox peeks Optic as he looked away. Kind of like a little who finds whom first. Thamson gets his way onto the bomb spot, finds Maxis as well, but you have to be certainly aware of the poles down below because C4 could fly away anytime soon. Ours will be down, so it's up to the poles. Azox comes in from below, but what? With the P10 road in hand, Riva, what happened?
I don't think I've ever seen so many gunfights take place on those lower spiral stairs. I think, was it 5 bodies on those stairs, or very close to. And
Yeah.
I just want to highlight, Wanted have consistently in their attacks taken the challenge to where Homeless are playing. They don't seem to have a set strategy of, oh, we'll clear this. This is what we want to do, and we will deal with sort of how you challenge that along the way. It's very much, this is how you're set up. We're going to try and directly attack these points. And it's not working out. We saw them struggle to do it back on Villa when they would switch up from going from a lateral attack to a vertical attack based on how the defense was set up. And here we see it again. They went for a lateral attack that time, whereas in the very first round they tried a vertical attack. Both times it failed, and I think, I don't know if Wanted are trying to be too clever and directly challenge Homeless where they're comfortable, or if they should come up with or rely on more defined strategies, because these guys are going to have a sort of base clear of what they want to do, and I think they should try and stick more closely to that kind of a plan instead of this attempt at being highly reactive to whatever the defense brings, because then you're just throwing so much control over to the side of Homeless.
10 seconds remaining.
I mean, definitely, you kind of get yourself forced
5 seconds.
into a way you actually don't want to play as an attacker, and then you're limited because you can't play off your strengths, for example. No, you have to play off what sort of weaknesses the defenders leave, and if they don't leave any, you will have a hard time. So as you mentioned, it would be much better for Wanted to play it in their own way, right? Approach the map not as they maybe see the weaknesses, but as the way they want to play it. Like approach the way how he always saw it, aggressively, and he finds his way already in garage, but of course the bomb spot itself being in lobby and piano, so he does need at least a little bit of time to get onto the bomb spot. Going up spiral stairs for the moment, might collect the frag really soon if the defenders are not aware of that push,
Bomb has been
but of
located.
course utility is spread out, and also the Legion coming in this round as well might get in action really soon, at least gadget wise. And one thing I would like to highlight, you called it first, this map is going to play out aggressively. If I look through how the rounds have ended so far, every round has ended with a kill win. We didn't see a single diffuser successfully being planted. We didn't see a counter diffuse, no, always gunfights.
Yeah, these guys really going at it and trying to frag out to the best of their ability. Azox lost about half of his HP already. He does still have his 2 nades in pocket, so if he were to go down now, that would be a lot of utility gone, but Ours upstairs trying to hold onto it as the Maestro, but it's going to be Ryder to fall first, and that's your smoke. That is huge. That is 30 seconds of plant denial out of the window. Ours is going to get the kill onto Azox, so that's the frag nade's gone, even it out a little bit in terms of the utility, but cannot overstate how important it is to not lose your smoke first and how much that's going to play against Homeless. But like wanting to get aggressive, he gets one immediately traded as Optic quick to respond.
He waited for a long time, but finally will be shut down. Ours with a second kill for himself. And yes, he does only have a holo equipped on that gun, but it doesn't matter if you have your eyes set up. Maverick vaulting into side or repelling into side, getting rid of the Maester Evil Eye as well. But it should at least give away his position if somebody has been in the cam, what hasn't been done. So he can stay on the bomb side unnoticed. But of course, he is not too sure where the defenders are. And both defenders, in fact, are upstairs. So that is a massive deal because now the plant should go down successfully for the very first time in this matchup. Yes, it does so. And now it comes down to the post-planned hold of the attackers. Linku and also Thamson just wait for the defenders to push into them. First one will be collected. Second one will be collected. It's only up to Optic, and he is struggling already. Pistol in hand, might be finding one soon. Optic finds the frag onto Linku. Final shot here. 1v1 situation against Thamson. Thamson did prove us right already that he is able to clutch if needed. Gumine going out. Diffuser is not being sticked. It was just a fake. But actually the repositioning really nice from Thamson. Optic now in need of sticking the defuse plan. There's no more time to fake. But Thamson, of course, with a headshot through the wall, he knew exactly where the defuse was going down, or the counter defuse, so he could just aim through the wall. And that was the round. 1 for wanted, 4-2 score before we go now into the round swap.
Our homeless now moving on to their attacks. They were able to bring the aggression, and I want to see them continue it. It's a bit more difficult to accurately pace that aggression out when you are attacking because it's so easy to overextend yourself. You've seen Light do it a lot, overextending yourself and then losing your light early on. So being able to have that controlled aggression all across the board is something that I want to see coming through from the side of Homeless. And Wanted, they're going to be picking up that mirror as well. I'm ready. I shouldn't have said anything about the mirror. I should just let it slide because these guys just enjoy proving me wrong.
Well, I mean, that's what we are here for, right? Just to be wrong.
Yeah. Wow,
anyway.
That's bad.
Yeah, we're starting off in basement, as you mentioned, with Mira on the play. Other operators, nothing crazy going on. I do like to mention, though, that we do see Melusi a lot. Melusi, of course, being able to be picked starting this season. So roughly 3 months she has been in play. And yes, we do see her a lot. Opinions, of course, are one thing, but statistics speak for themselves. We do see her a lot, and I think that speaks for how strong she is. And I would like to mention as well what impact she had not only on this map but also on Villa. We just have seen her throughout both of these maps quite a bunch of times, and yeah, it just shows what nice operator she is. Just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and in this utility-driven meta, the 20-second meta as it's known, having those 3 banshees, it's a lot of utility that the attackers need to deal with, because more often than not you're going to be forced into using an explosive like an ash charge, a fear charge, or a frag nade to get rid of them. And you know, as well as that very handy speed reduction, the loud noise, the defenders can get a lot of benefits from bringing that Melusi.
Absolutely. Nomad chucking down, putting down some of her air jabs for the moment to stop the aggressivity by the defenders. But we do have a like on defense, so I'm really expecting him to still be aggressive. At least he still remains on the top floor as the late roam game continues to be active. Thermite being brought up for, I think, the first time in this matchup overall, getting rid of that hard reinforced wall on Garage, and opens, of course, the first angle of attack for the attackers into the bomb spot. Not sure why it took so long. Of course, Bandit was there, but with a little bit of help, they could get rid of that eventually. And now they do face the problem. The attackers do have one big problem: 2 Mira windows facing their way, and that is the big deal of Mira. Live at the same time gets Foster out of the game. Beautiful shot, and also they are getting out Nomad, so massive influence on the game throughout already. And yeah, now Bombshot, of course, is going to be the next big deal. As I mentioned, the mirror windows are active. They are going to have a big impact in the vulnerability of the bomb spot, and of course in the likelihood of the attackers pushing in. But there's also roamers on the play, and they do have to be aware of that. The like gets the second one, as ours was just for a single second not paying attention. Shut down as well. Only 3 last attackers. Now, finally, they do have to find their way into the map.
Yeah, and it's gonna be Mexes to get it down onto Azox, and might be able to go in and finish that kill off, but it's gonna shoot the alibi hologram just a little bit, so they're gonna be aware of where he is for the time being. And as we see, those Malusis gonna deny the easy push on down the stairs by Ryber, or by Mexes even, as Ryber's over by Piano and opening up the floor a little bit. Denying that easy push down, the ADS is just eating up all of that utility, and it's going to be the C4 coming through by Deadshot. Ryber is out of here. Now it's left up to the two FBI operators, Mexes, and, well, okay, just Optic. He goes for the hot drop on in, and he's not able to get anything. That's going to be Team Wanted collecting round number 7.
And there we go. Team Wanted finally showing us how they can play as well. Like to see that little Mira pop in the end. Just to, you know, Mira as an operator really having a big influence throughout Siege, but especially, of course, if you know how to play her, and yeah, these two teams do know how to play her, she has a massive influence. And the attackers were in a good position, right? Let's just kind of try and break down the last round. The attackers were in a really good position. They technically could push in. They had the breach open. They had a little bit of top floor control as well. Technically, they could just walk in, but there was 2 mirror windows facing their way. And if you can't know when you're getting peeked, you are not going to walk in. That's simple Siege physics, simple Siege math, if you want so. And therefore, of course, Mira being not banned was like maybe not surprising to us, but Mira being picked is surprising to us, right? And also the way she's having an influence on this matchup.
Yeah, and that intel works 2 ways. I took a little bit of time out of that round to just focus on the drone economy from our Homeless, because they've had a really good grasp over their intel so far, but in that round, with more than a minute left, 9 of their drones had been destroyed. There was 1 drone left alive, and it was one of ours that I assume was on a flank watch. Every single other one was destroyed, and there's no way you can properly expect to win and execute when you don't have any intel of where they are.
Absolutely. I mean, we were still playing Siege, and I think whoever you ask throughout the whole scene, they are going to tell you information is key, and especially if you're facing defenders who can really be everywhere, spread throughout the map, you definitely need that information. Otherwise, you're going to have a really hard time going into gunfights. So yeah, that's definitely, like I said, going or is a massive factor. And good drone economy is massive. The grenade going down, downing Mira, and the push is now able to happen as well. What happened? The push coming right after this really seems like a rush, even though it didn't look like it. Only one last defender, Azox alive, getting a little bit of damage dealt already, but he's able to land a headshot onto ours. What a shot again onto Foster's. Foster, sorry. Only 3 last attackers alive, but it's only Azox, so he definitely has to clutch. He really has a hard way because all the hatches are closed, so he has to walk there. He has to expose himself, and of course the attackers are just waiting for him. They knew where he was last, and they of course can expect where he will come from, and so does he. He only has 20 HP left. He does need to go in for that fight. 15 seconds, 7 he needs to defuse, so not much time to work with. And yes, the attackers are stalling it out for him even more, and I think the breaching round just finished it off for him.
That initial rush was very well executed. Oh, it was the direct impact. He was so low. The ass charge, just the impacts of it killed him. That is that's hilarious. But Mexes hit a very, very nice shot. So we saw the frag nades going on down the mirror and eventually killed it. We saw the Zofia rushing down the hatch as well and getting another kill onto a player in Archives. But it was Mexes' position outside. There is actually a drone hole that looks over Harry Potter. We did see a drone there at the start of the round, and he was able to get a kill on a player on the other side of the mirror who would have been the pivotal operator to deny the efficacy of that rush. He was able to eliminate them and just provide free reign for his team, and that's a really uncommon spot that players don't tend to utilize. It's very difficult to land your shots through there, so you know, at a bit of a strange angle and you're looking down, you have to rely on a player being there, but being able to catch someone out like that and just a very dirty angle to use. I mean, I
dirty is such a harsh word. To be blunt, I don't think these teams are gifting anything away. So of course, you know, using these angles is definitely important. Quickly on a side note, FBI opened up through every round of this map. The team that gets the opening kill has also won the round, and that is a massive factor, because if it continues like that, basically by seeing who dies first, we can already tell you who is going to come out on top, come out as the winner. And Homeless, having won already one map, being on their match point, right, only needs to win 2 more rounds. 1 round away of match point, so not far away from actually winning that series.
Wow. This could be that match point, as you mentioned with Nexus. He's going to lose his life right at the beginning of the round. He's already had 11 kills through these previous 8 rounds, leading the way for the entire lobby. And to lose him so early on is going to be a huge detriment to Homeless's attack. But Ryber, he should not have won that. That was... like, you really got to win those. He wasn't even looking the same way, just the flick around. Oh my god.
Indeed. And if you can trust on our statisticians in the background, then Team Wanted will come out as the winner of this round. Let's see if we can stick to that sort of rhythm, or if Homeless will prove us wrong. For the moment, it's a tie, even though Ryba, of course, is really low on HP and is technically, I think, possibly getting, or could be getting killed by a smoke canister hitting his head. At least that would be really funny. I would love to see that. Anyways, 1 minute 35, half of the round passed already away. And yeah, the attackers are doing what? They are getting top floor control. They do have to be certainly aware that Thamson and also Azax and a little bit of help from Linku from top of Yellow Stairs are also fighting for the top floor, so nothing gifted away there. But to get the right foot into the door, it is really important for the attackers to get top floor control. So Ours and also Optic do have to work properly together. As we can see, Ours also crawling through the hallway to get behind the desk, so they definitely need to get that. Help is coming as well from Spiral Stairs, but Linku is there as well to catch Ours. Azox catches Foster, and Azox catches the second one onto Optic. It's only up to Ryba with barely any HP.
And he's found his way inside of the bathroom, but he doesn't seem to have an idea of this Maestro, and that's going to be Deadshot to close it out. Wanted, they don't want to make this one easy for Homeless, always staying just within touching distance, but as one of the first defenses that they've won, Homeless still looking poised to be able to take this.
5-4. This is so close. I really... Dino, am I the only one? If I need to pick a winner now, I would not have a single clue.
I think Homeless are going to take this. They've got the experience when it comes down to these clutch moments. They've been able to play well against, you know, a lot of very strong teams in previous competitions. But the big thing about this map right now is Linku's struggle. He was one of the most pivotal fraggers and, you know, pivotal operators back on Villa, and at the start of round 9 he was only 1 in 7. He's got his second kill in that round, and you know, he was able to get 2 assists, I think, as well. So him being able to apply that impact really helped switch the round up, but he's not been consistent with it, and I fear if that continues, Wanted really aren't going to be able to claw their way back into this.
Indeed. And yeah, I think, as you mentioned, Linku being a massive impact, or has been a massive impact, I think it's I don't know, what do you think could be the deal for him to not shine as he did already? Because I mean, this is the map they need, right? They're facing a match point. If they would lose this, they would need to go into the lower bracket. Of course, they wouldn't be out, but it would be much harder for them to make it into our grand finals. So I don't know, what could be the deal breaker for him?
I don't know. I mean, this is Wanted's map pick. Homeless chose to start out on defense, but you don't want to be going to a map where you know you have someone who's underperforming. So I do think this is a bit of an anomaly for Linku, just the output that he's had so far. But I don't know, he really just needs to step up and like not get caught out in early kills like we see Likefact do yet again. I think that's the 7th or 8th round now where Likefact has been the opening death for his team.
Absolutely. And as we just mentioned, like being the opening frag, he has just been the opening frag once again. Ryba being down now as well. C4 toss secures the kill and also gets Optic out of the map. Ladies and gentlemen, this round could once again go into Team Wanted's favor, but of course Homeless got the opening frag, so according to our magicians and statisticians, Homeless will take it. Ash utility being used properly, but Deadshot lands the shot onto Max's. Beautiful shot by the hole, who was just made to get rid of him, and that is what we talked about. Utility and also holds. Line of sights work in both directions. Foster takes out Linku. 3v2 situation. Getting closer to a tie once again, man count wise, but the favor is still there for Team Wanted. They just have to play with it. They do not need to peek. They are the defenders, right? They don't have the diffuser down, so they don't need to aggressively peek. They don't need to face the attackers if not absolutely necessary.
A bomb has been located.
Yeah, but they don't have that explosive utility to get rid of things like Malusi's. I mean, we do see ours here. He has one impact left, but it's being used close up to get rid of Malusi behind the white van, meaning that that one on the yellow stairs is still going to be available, restricting Foster's line of entry on into the site. Having to cross in front of the mirror, Tamsin's going to take that one any day of the week, and now it's all left up to Foster. Those shots hitting the bars, meaning that Deadshot is going to get away without losing any HP, and with 40 seconds to go, it's looking like Wanted have the perfect opportunity to tie us up here. But Foster, he's had those moments where he's just walked at the other team and brought it back. There's always the potential that that could happen here, but Azok's going to peek out right at the perfect moment and get the headshot onto Foster. Team Wanted tying it up.
5-5. I'm just noting it down. I need to make notes because I can't even keep my head on the level of knowing what is going to happen next and also what happened. I mean, we had a massive lead, 4-1 for Homeless, right? They were in the driver's seat, and as we got into the round, so basically one round after another, it got closer. The ice melted in between those two teams. Now we do see a tie, so definitely an interesting match. And honestly, especially after Villa, I think nobody out there expected this match to be anywhere close of boring, right? I think for the second play there, this is it's definitely a barn burner, literally.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we spoke about how much importance aggression is having here, but it's this aggression that favors the defenders just by the nature of the map and the meta of the moment. And we're seeing that come through in just the defending team getting a large amount of these rounds. And in fact, just the strong play by Mirror as well is really helping to attribute something that I never thought I would say on Consulate, by the way. I have gone the last, well, Mirror was released year 2, season 1.
Yeah.
Since then, I've basically been like, Mirror, Consulate, doesn't really work. Not quite the right fit. But these guys, both of these teams, using Mirror very, very effectively here.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's why I was afraid at first that Mirror wasn't banned, that she could have a big impact. But like, it's still a concept, right? You don't see Mirror that often just because, as you said, there's not perfect spots as, for example, on other maps. But we still, regardless of that fact, we still see her brought out almost every round. And yeah, all I can say is that just shows no matter how good the position is, a Mirror window can always make a big difference. But what also can make a big difference, of course, is the information you get from a Paul's calls, of course, being really informational here and really good information here as well, because you do know where the attackers are going to come from, where the main push is going to come from, maybe where a side push is going to come from, and you might also be able to toss out a C4 whenever needed. Well, I mean, actually, for the moment, no C4 is tossed out yet, but 1
There are
minute
4
passed away.
C4s.
Yeah, but nothing has been tossed out. Yeah, that is why I'm interested, why I'm surprised.
I sort of just looked at it again. They've got 4 C4s. Going for this plant on the side of Tellers is going to be nearly impossible. They're going to have to challenge directly onto Archives itself, where we see this Pulse and Mute running around together trying to line it up perfectly. And Optic, he's actually in. He's boosted up on top of a desk, and he can go for this. The C4 gets thrown on up, and that's going to be Optic going down as Light gets one onto Nexus. So a 5 versus 3. 2 of those C4s have already been utilized, and Ryber recovers the diffuser. Another C4. Both of them go off. That's all the C4s used, but they've been able to collect 2 kills for it. The shots coming in through the ground eliminates Ryber, and it's Foster now in a 1 versus 4 in this clutch situation yet again.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Foster only for a situation they normally don't go out well in this matchup, but of course from other matches we do know clutches are a thing. Foster, it's your time to shine. 4 people would need to be collected for you to win this round, to bring your team to match point. If not, you would have to face a match point. First one could be collected quite soon, not yet. And that's the problem of the ARX. You don't have that many shots to your availability. Rotate is coming in as well, but like said, time is ticking down, not much to work with, so he definitely has to be super curious what he tries to do. The peak is there, and Foster gets one shot, but with the Vector in hand, Thamson Mira shuts him down right after, and that is your match point once and finally 4 wanted in this second map.
Yeah, and the thing that Homeless are going to be concerned about is even if they win this round, they're going to be going to overtime. And in overtime, they're starting out on attack. And, well, if they win this next round, that will only be the second attacking round that Homeless have been able to win. It doesn't look good for them. They might be able to get their defending round in between and force us all the way to around 15. But judging by the track record of these attacks so far, it's really not worked out for Homeless. And I'm not 100% sure why. They just seem to be losing these engagements. It was only that one round where they really lost all their drones. Since then, they've had quite a good drone economy. They should be understanding where these players are coming from, and it's just not piecing itself together.
Need to locate and defuse bombs.
I mean, how a wise man once said, that's how fast the cookie can crumble. And I think that's what we might see. Team Wanted for the first time on match point today evening, and they need it. They need this map, otherwise if it goes to overtime, it still might go in favor of Homeless. Just wanted to point that out again. I mean, the pressure is definitely there for Team Wanted, right? I mean, let's not forget about the pressure as well and the sort of momentum. They did win the last 3 rounds back to back, but they needed it, right? If they would have lost 1 round, it would have been a match point against them. So I love to see, even under pressure, how strong they can perform as a team.
Attackers are heading out to defuse
Yeah,
the bomb.
and Homeless, seeing as they won Villa, they might be treating some of these rounds as if they've got a safety net behind them, that they can, if needs be, always battle it out on map number 3. That's going to be Oregon if we do find ourselves there, but that's not really how you should be thinking of it. You need to be trying to take all of these rounds, and it's just not happening, and I really don't know why.
Well, maybe at that point of time, Homeless is I don't know, kind of lacking a little bit of energy, or at least they seem to struggle a bit in the way of, them, I don't know, feeling they have won already, or like you said, the safe net being underneath them. I don't know what is the case for that, but they do need to get the energy from the first map and also from the first half of this map back into the game. Otherwise, I'm really inclined to say that Team Wanted might come out on top of this matchup. But for the moment, it is match point for Team Wanted. Let's talk about that maybe last round or just the first round before we go into overtime. Foster does something you don't see that often. The rappel in spiral stairs, actually without being shot at from underneath or anywhere, is of course able to help out in the top floor, increase the pressure, try to get rid of the top floor control from the defenders as fast as possible. Thamson's though has the shotgun in hand, but has to be aware of the projector window because Ash is rappelling upside down there. Azox finds a shot, and also Ryba finds the Thamson with a grenade. So a trade here, Mute against Sophia. More and more the attackers are working their way into the top floor, as we can see, but Azox is going through the next one, which is having a massive problem. Linku is there to help him out if needed, but top floor might be falling quite soon. Looks really good. I'm inclined to say it looks really good for the attackers.
It looks good, but they don't have a lot of time to complete this top floor clear. It took them 1:40 just to kill the player inside of Projector. They don't have a lot of time to play around with, even though the man count at the moment is even. They got Like to deal with, who has a C4 in hand. They still have 2 Maestro Evil Eyes and 3 Banshees to negotiate when they want to go for this plant. And we see Like he's positioned all the way down in the basement. That hatch is open, so he can throw his C4 in deep to the default plant spot. There are also holes opened up above to try and line the shots down. So Mechas loses his life up above, that's going to make it so much easier, but these kills are starting to go the way of Homeless, as that's going to be 2 frags to put them even further at the advantage. The C4 falls short, and now Jaeger is stuck on an island by himself upstairs. He does land a shot into Mechas as Like comes up to assist, and now with the diffuser timer running down slowly, Homeless can just take these super far out post-plant positions. Post-plant on Consular is one of the hardest things to do as a defender. You've just got so many angles to try and challenge. And Homeless are just going to take their time. A brilliant shot coming through from Ryber means that it's now all left up to the Jaeger, and it's going to be Foster with the pistol to close it out. And that's Homeless going to, bringing this to overtime.
Yeah, we are going into overtime, but as you can read in chat as well, we are having a little rehouse right now as well. And let's see how it will play out for overtime. Like I said, we are going to overtime, so both teams are definitely equal, and all the sound bugs are sorted out. So full throttle ahead for overtime, and I hope all the people we talked about, which have been struggling throughout that second map, are now able to wake up once again and are able to come on the same level, on the same height. We did see them already before, just to get their team onto the maximum level and then let the better team win. I mean, that is what we're here for, right? We want to see the better team come out as the winner, and yeah, I don't know. For me personally, it's really hard to say, because I think Homeless has been a much better team on Villa. Of course, Villa has been it's a much different map than Consulate, but the first half they have kept that same energy level, and now it's a completely different team almost.
Yeah. Now, the advantage of the rehost for both of these teams is it can function a little bit as a mental reset. So Homeless, they might have had some issue going on where they just weren't being able to clearly define things. So this could start to work out a little bit more in Homeless's favor, that ability to just take some time out and rethink their strategy, understanding obviously that they're going to be starting up on an attack, and sort of deciding and having a little bit more breathing room to think about what they want to do in terms of this forthcoming execute.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, once again, Homeless on a tag, and also the main loss, but the refrag is there right after. Azox takes out first one person, then is refragged right after. So Maxis has been traded for Azox. Ash, Jaeger trade. Not a bad deal for both of these teams. Nothing too crazy in one favor. Bandit is still there, and he is also able to get the thermite charge. Like at the same time, gets the shot onto Foster. That's once again pure support gone, and that's once again the favor for Team Wanted. They also, like I said, just got the thermite charge. They might get another one because there's nothing in the top floor hindering him. Okay, this time around he will not be able to get the same magic happening again. Garage will be open, but we once again have these 2 mirror windows, and it's going to be a really hard time now for the attackers to find their way into it, especially since they're 1 man down.
Yeah, and with having to open up that central wall, that central garage panel, it's restricting how well their push on in is going to be should they decide to enter on into a garage, because there are mirror windows staring directly at it. If you can get the one furthest over on the right from the outside, you can be protected by the white van, but Deadshot is going to get one with a C4, and then it's going to be finished off by Optic, meaning that it's a 3 versus 2. There's still a C4, 2 C4s actually over in the side of Wanted, but a lot of time left for Homeless to use to their advantage should they choose to. Like flanking up from the top floor, though, could pose a real problem if they're not aware.
As I just mentioned, I think Like could be a really big threat for it, because they don't seem to be aware of a flank, so there's no flank drone set up. They're aiming down yellow stairs, but not up yellow stairs, and that's where like would be coming from. And if they decide to go down yellow stairs, he is just there to catch them. Sledge, of course, living really dangerous, and that's what I just was talking about. That's life's like second kill, and it's up to Optic. 1v3 situation, 28 seconds. Luckily, he does have the diffuser, so he doesn't have to retrieve that, but he doesn't have that much utility to work with. Light gets a little bit too aggressive and will be shut down as soon as he tries into Optic. Optic now only needing to deal with 2 other guys. Almost shot the alibi there, but time is ticking against him. 11 seconds. He does need to make that push happen, and they are once again playing ring around the Rosie, and Linku will shut him down, and then eventually going into the match point once again for Team Wanted.
And I think this is going to come down to the fact that Wanted were able to start out on defense in this overtime. The defense has been so strong by both of these teams, going 4-2 on each half to get us here into overtime, and well, having that opening defensive advantage is definitely going to play an impact. They aren't going to be able to defend downstairs again, so Homeless might be able to take advantage of a different site, potentially a weaker hold coming through from Wanted. But I thought this was going to be a 2-0. I really did. I thought Homeless would be able to take both of these maps without getting to overtime, but Wanted proving me wrong time and time again, and I'm loving it.
I can totally understand that, why you love that. Anyways, we might head into the final round. I think the air is getting thinner and thinner for Homeless. They first were down on match point in round number 11. Now they're, or round number 12, sorry. Now they're down once again and have to face a match point. It's down to them. If they have the energy to go to a third map and then basically come back to the energy level and to the team synergy we did see on the first map, they might not have a problem. But if that's the energy they had for today, it might go in favor of Team Wanted, right?
Absolutely.
Attackers are heading out to defuse
Once
the bomb.
more, one of these multi-floor holds coming through, very much a tenet of this map in general, and lots of vertical holes being opened up above the objective, which is going to just force Wanted to need to clear up above and restrict their options for when they want to go for that final plant if they don't have that top floor control.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be a big deal. Admin overall is going to be a big deal for the attackers, as we can see already. Luckily, there's not much the defenders are putting towards them or against them. Nice little pixel here from Deadshot takes out Maxis, and that is the advantage once again for Team Wanted. Maxis is out. Not too bad, not gonna lie, but he definitely does need to, or definitely Homeless needs to come along with it and fight her way back into it. No, Like finds one as well. Foster has to say goodbye as well. Team Wanted looking really strong. They just have the idea where the defenders are going to peek into them. Beautiful anticipation there from Team Wanted. They are definitely in the driver's seat and putting themselves even further. Linku finds Ryba. The headshot finds Optic. It's up to Ours. Ours can secure 1 kill at first. Might get a second one or lose the gunfight. He will not lose the gunfight, but Thamson from behind shuts him down. That is the win for Team Wanted on the second map.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ryba didn't want that that sprayer on Zofia getting caught on stream, but we won't talk about that because there's a lot to unpack just in those 2 rounds there, and especially in that final round, the defense when a Homeless were defending in regulation was so strong, but then in that overtime it all just fell apart immediately, and I don't know what's going on. There might be a little bit of dissonance. Maybe they just don't play Consulate all that much, and once they use their strategies once, they didn't really have those minute variations to build off of and to change up.
The way Oregon is going to come up really soon. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't go anywhere. We are just going for a 5-minute break. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and see you in a bit. Right away, so no time to speak about our bans, I guess. Anyways, We do not want to wait. We want to see these teams now on the third and final map, who will continue to stay in the winner top bracket or who will go to the bottom bracket. First team banning, because their start on defense is Homeless, and it will start right away with banning a Maverick. Nothing to be a surprise today, to be honest. But of course, also for Oregon, Maverick is definitely a really good operator you want to have off the board. Really strong, especially for example in getting into attic and getting into the blue wall. Nothing really much needed except for the blowtorch. Second attack operator being banned by Team Wanted will be a Nomad. Actually interesting because we did see Nomad brought out quite oftenly, especially by Team Wanted as well, but I think they thought something with it. Next ban is going to be the first defender ban, Wamai. Nothing crazy. We have seen a Wamai ban on every map so far from these two teams. And the last and final ban will come in from Homeless. Will be our very final ban, and it will be a Mira. Now finally, Mira off the board.
Yeah, I can't get over just how much Mirror we saw on Consulate there, but I mean, we've seen Wamai get banned through all 3 of these games, and Mirror banned in 2 of them. I'm just interested by the fact that we're actually seeing Homeless switch up their attacking ban. They got rid of Ace on both Villa and Consulate, and now they've decided to get rid of that Maverick. So Ace, we know how strong he is. He's got the AK-12, one of the best assault rifles in the game. He's got 3 of those Selmas, which are just super powerful and can be very versatile in being able to open up walls. And we're seeing Thatcher get left in play. This is potentially going to be quite a strong attacking
Attackers need to
half,
locate and defuse
just
bombs.
because of the ops that are being left at the disposal for Team Wanted.
But I'm actually disappointed. It's once again Homeless starting in defense. But this time not. Unfortunately, we don't see them on a crazy bomb spots. No, they start in basement. Sad. I'm really sad. That is big sad.
Yeah, I mean, well, sometimes you just gotta go back to the basics. Keep it playing, keep it simple.
I mean, that's what they just needed, right?
10 seconds remaining.
Oh, I like that electrical. It got the hatch and the lone wall.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm really happy that we caught that.
For all you ranked players out there, you saw it here first. And yeah, that's our start into the third and final map. Matchup Team Wanted against Homeless. And yeah, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to this match, as we talked already about it. Really could go both ways, to be really honest. Really, both teams did show their strength, but also their weaknesses already. It's really going to, I guess, come down to gunfights and their way of finding themselves into the map. Deadshot actually being the first one to go down freezer stairs. Not really taking long to get through the map, but of course now they will face the first shield, the first bit of utility they have to get rid of. Flashbangs coming in to clear all the ADSs. Not much there, so should be quite easy. Pre-fire coming as well from Deadshot, not landing. And as you can see, Optic already had to fall back a decent bit, but not too much. Freezer still under control mostly for the defenders because of that line of sight being open, as we could just see. Hatch being opened as well, just to help of getting it out even faster.
Now, 2 of those ace charges having to be devoted to opening up the hatch, which is a pretty big commitment early on in the round. And in fact, Linku wanting to throw his 3rd Selma onto the reinforced wall next to Freezer, but is going to have to put it on the soft wall. A very deep C4 tossed by Foster isn't actually going to collect anything, but about 5 points of health from Deadshot. This Freezer execute, very atypical. Generally, you either see a blue and backstairs take or a lot more emphasis as well coming down lobby, and that's what we're finally starting to see as Deadshot is at the bottom of these stairs. The drones from Tamsin's coming on in, and we actually see Linku as well on drones. Deadshot getting lit up as he's crossing over, so they're fully aware of how this execute is going to go, and Ours might actually be able to go for a flank right now if no one's watching the backside.
But the interesting approach I'd like to mention here from where the attackers are coming from, no default blue push or a big tower stairs push. No, we all see the push coming in from southern and western side from Freezer and main stairs. So definitely something interesting and something new, which you don't see really often. Linku, the first one to get the shot landed. Foster though refragging right after. So the trade going down here, but the attackers are finally able to walk at least further into the bomb spot. Diffuser will be dropped as Maxis finds Linku. Ours finds Like. Maxis finds Thamson. It's only up to Deadshot. That was really quite close. That was quite close. Sophia being downed. Optic finishing the kill. No chance to withstand at that situation.
Yeah, and that is a much more typical defense. The aggression was still there in small doses, but they just let Team Wanted push on into them. They let them open up the hatch and get that freezer control. They didn't overly contest early on because they know that when it comes to getting into the bomb site, when it's basement, doesn't matter what walls you open up, you're still very limited as to what you can do when you're there, and you can hold some incredibly strong angles as the defenders, and well, Homeless taking advantage of those to collect the first round.
Yeah, indeed. And
Protect your bombs from being
I
defused by attackers.
don't know. It's kind of like they planned that the attackers or that Homeless planned that Team Wanted is going to come from Freezer and main stairs because of the way you just mentioned. They lured them into Freezer and basically just let them walk into the bomb spot, and then the trap snapped together and crushed them. I think if you would have seen a default push, this round could have played out totally different and even in favor of Team Wanted. Like, since there was no pressure from big tower stairs, the rotation for the defenders was quite
10
easily
seconds to go.
doable, right? And just one person there, and you could collect at least one free frag.
Absolutely. But as we're looking at this top floor hold, we're seeing some pretty standard attic pressure. There's going to be ADSs, I would presume, a Malusi over there, and we're seeing basically all of Team Wanted spawn over on this construction side to just get started on that straight away.
Big tower will be the first target. Also, there's nothing crazy. Together with Thatcher and Ace will be able to open up into attic and get quite a bit of control onto that already. But let's not forget about Jäger, as we just saw. He's playing there as well, and he's of course fighting against the attackers. You would not let them in freely without any fighting. And since you only have Ace in this situation there to help you out breach, you only have smaller gaps. You don't have a thermite as you normally would have back in the day, so you have to vault through it or you have to crouch through it. And especially if Maxis gets notice of that, he could land a shot. In this situation he actually didn't, but he's still there and he's still firing back at them. First shot collected onto Deadshot. Beautiful shot landed onto his head to finish him off. And that is the first punishment for just walking in without droning and proper utility.
Yeah, that's a very nice kill to get rid of the Zofia when she still had a lot of utility left available. That's definitely going to be felt, but the aggressive run out by Foster is going to be punished as he's actually going to be down. It's Linku to get the kill onto ours elsewhere though, so a Homeless trying to continue to bring this aggression. It's working in small doses, but this could really start to backfire if those runouts keep getting caught.
And runouts are a thing to cope with the push direction of the attackers to stop them. But in this situation, as I said, it only worked in a small doses. Thamson in front of big window could be a big factor coming in throughout the rest of the run as well. But Optic with a little run out. And there we go. Oh, no. He did read it. He just tossed his drone, but he did read into the situation, heard it, and flicked around. Maxis at the same time lands the hatchet onto Azox. 3v3 situation. A lot of people alive for 45 seconds, but no real progress made so far with the attackers pushing into the bomb spot.
There's 30 seconds left for them to try and find some headway in. Ryber has one of those noxious gas canisters left and on the peak, but he accidentally hits his knife key, meaning that it wasn't able to secure the kill. Tamsin using the sound of that EMP going down to get his entrance on in, and the kill going either way. Mexis with the quad kill, potentially on for the ace, but it's going to be Ryber to steal it at the end. Well, win the round, but steal the ace from Nexus. It's just a very good. Incredibly well played. 3v3 with just the aggression all coming in. Wanted time their push at the end perfectly, but Mex is just hitting his shots and some great navigation by Ryber.
Absolutely. And I think that shows how, I don't want to say easy, but how fortunate it is to defend first, because especially in Oregon, the map is constructed in a way where you can hold crossfires almost up until the very last second. And if you can land your shots, and you can see Max's 6 kills, right? 5 more than the rest of his team.
Defenders, protect your bombs
If you
from
can
being
do that,
defeated
and
by
if you can
attackers.
play a crossfire well, you're going to have quite an easy time playing on defense on Oregon. But eventually you'll have to attack, and then of course this favor does go into the hands of your opponents. So especially Oregon is a map where you should really be careful with like analyzing too much into a situation or into a round count, because we did see some, for example, Pro League teams going in 6-0 and being down 6-0, sorry, and still taking on the win, right? It's still Oregon.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, there's no real guarantees that your lead will stick around when you're playing on Oregon. Despite the changes, teams are still pretty confident and comfortable with you know, the standard executes. There's not been too much that's changed drastically in terms of the very core mechanics as to how you play on this map. It's just a little bit of the finer details have changed slightly. The broad strokes are very much the same, and that means that teams are just prepared to be able to switch it around at any given moment.
Yeah, indeed. Small tower control in the hand of the attackers. Ash charge used as well. Not sure what the attackers are trying to do, if it's going to be a default breach. It really looks like it, but they do have to be careful, because it could still be a situation where the defenders are going to lure them in, and then together with Lucy's gadget, with the evil eyes, with the smoke canisters, it could be a really deadly trap which might be hitting them later. So they have to be certainly careful of that. Maxis with 6 kills backing him up. He still wants to be aggressive, but no one picking into him just yet. Foster also decides to be aggressive. You named it. Aggressivity and keeping it up is a really big factor for Homeless, and it could win them the round.
Yeah, but it could also cost them the round, as 2 of their players are already getting lit up. The smoke's going down, I think, to potentially assist with an ace opening of the wall. Yeah, being unable to shoot that Selma off of the wall was Ryber, which means that ours position gets slightly more difficult to maintain, as he's got this new angle all the way over towards the door of sight to contend with. Mexes, he's still desperate to get this kill onto the Zofia that's playing safe all the way out here. And the hatch above the site is going to be so huge. It doesn't matter if you get the wall open. If you don't clear the players off of the hatch or have enough smokes and utility to deal with that when it gets towards the end of the round, you can just be shot out trying to go for your execute. Wanted are either going to have to go for a frag out finish or invest something into dealing with it upstairs.
Yeah, I expect the smoke canisters to come up in very soon. And then the attackers, as you mentioned, do have to go for basically a Mexican standoff. Deadshot finds a shot onto ours, and that will finally be the first frag in this round. But Maxis is aware that there was a player out there, and Foster is able to secure the kill. Azox finds Maxis. So many kills flying into either direction, but Team Wanted currently on top of it. It's up to Foster in a 1v3 situation, not able because like anticipates the push perfectly, and Team Wanted finally takes their first round.
That was a very nicely done execute, but this is much more standard in terms of the maps, the sites, and the win-losses compared to what we've seen before. Back on Consulate, I think every team, well, both teams played on every single site. I might be wrong. I don't think Wanted actually played. Oh no, they did play Piano one time, but and then going all the way back to Villa, we saw Homeless as well, going through all 4 sites. Wanted only going to 2 of them. But here, you've only got 3 really highly competitively viable sites. Playing Meeting is very hit or miss, and I wouldn't be too surprised if we see the standard rotation of Laundry, Kids, Kitchen just on repeat, and it'll be collecting the 2 first ones, and then that whoever wins their first kitchen, or the first kitchen I should say, is probably going to be the team to take this.
Absolutely. I mean, that is the doubt. Ooh, Foster taking massive damage. This is a big mistake because he could be shot out quite soon. Something you definitely have to be aware of. I mean, teams setting up and getting ready for the round are under a massive amount of stress and pressure because they need to reinforce here, they need to put their utility there, they need to maybe do a rotation hole as well, and maybe check some cams as well or reposition some cams. So definitely a big pressure, but shooting your teammate is really something you should be careful, because this small mistake at first could lead into a big loss. Because usually you rely on your teammate holding an angle or securing a line of sight, whatever. And as soon as he falls, you might be completely vulnerable and open to a possible attack. And this could be your weak spot. So you definitely have to be sure or careful of not shooting your teammate.
Yeah. Foster as well, he's got one of those C4s, and previously he used the cover of the smoke provided by the attackers to throw the C4 deep into Freezer. And if he tries to do that again, there's a likelihood that he might just get randomly spammed through smoke, and because he's not full HP, he could go down to that, which would be a massive loss. So he's going to have to force Homeless to change what they're doing. But Team Wanted, they're just doing everything they want to at the moment, getting all of this middle floor control very early on, and in fact they're going to rotate down to blue. Mexis gets 1 kill, and Ryber is ready and waiting to take that elbow position to challenge and prevent any further aggression coming in from the side of the map. He just crosses!
He really just crossed, yes, and I think he's not able to reinforce right after because Lamson was just following up. And now the attackers do have, of course, a massive entrance point into side. At the same time, Linku just goes crazy, collects 2 kills. For him and his teams might get a third one actually quite soon. No, Tamsin is the first one, refrag right there, right after from Optic. And this might fall right quite soon. Ryber with a beautiful headshot. SMG out, but the attackers are already on site. Unrevealed for the moment. Linku finds a shot onto Ryber, only up to Optic. And they don't know where Optic is. And that plant does go down or stop, but Azox finally will stop the final push coming down with a kill. So another round in favor of Wanted, and this is a massive loss because Basement lost as a defender. Ooh.
Yeah, but that was a good recognition, a good amount of recognition coming through by Wanted to understand that they didn't have the ADSs and the shields set up. They didn't have all of that utility there to slow down a push. At least after the initial phase, they might have rotated at some point, but they were mostly set up for a Freezer take. And Wanted did their droning, got that middle floor control, and went, hang on, they've got almost nothing blue. They've got a guy playing pillar and a rotate for a smoke to peek on out. Ryber, I don't know how he didn't die when he initially spawned. But I don't think he should have swung in the first place. He should have understood that they're gonna start coming in this way. Let's close off this wall so that it's gonna be a more difficult task for them to get on into the site.
Yeah, I totally agree. That risk of dying there was not worth being taken. I mean, he took it and he came out alive, but that was, in my opinion, more lucky than anything else. And what I would like to mention as well is a really interesting approach of Team Wanted. I mean, the first time they approached this bomb site, they came in all the way from Freezer and main stairs. They kind of now had the favor that blue wasn't really set up properly, maybe even because they came in or didn't came in from that side earlier, so they had the advantage of dealing with less utility denial and could just basically flood it. So Smoke had no time at all to properly hold it later on and reinforce the wall, so a bunch of shots could be, or a bunch of gunfights could be won in their favor. Goya retreating but finds one with the pistol. Optic takes out Deadshot, but takes a massive amount of HP damage in the act. Like, now needs to decide where to go, but he finds the frag onto ours. How was that possible? He had the surprise factor. Well, anyways, the R4C stays alive, like stays alive.
Yeah, he did seem to adjust his aim just before ours peaked, so potentially a flank drone in location, but Optic to... I just don't understand that initial aggression. And then the fact that he was able to get away safely after collecting the first kill of the round, he was retreating downstairs with a pistol out and Deadshot whiffed everything.
Big tower stairs and blue push, as we basically knocked out last round, is going to be the same approach as this time, or for this time as well. 1 minute 30 seconds. Ash is getting ready in position together with Sledge. They need to get rid of all that utility which is spread out through blue, and need to really clear that out. Otherwise they might have another problem than last round, because Ryback can play there for basically as long as he wants. The smoke canister can help him out later as well if he wants to rotate away. The utility needs to be certainly cleared, but also the shield of course gives him enough protection to hold line of sight for as long as possible.
2 of those EMPs going down to make sure that the meeting hatch above electrical is going to get opened up, which implies that Wanted are going to commit basically all of their resources to this blue and backstairs take. It worked out for them last time, but Ryba's not making the... Oh, never mind. I was about to say Ryba's not making the same mistakes this time, and it's going to be like to get the kill, and Ryba's still trying to be aggressive. You just need to back off. There's less than 30 seconds to go, but it's going to be Tamsin to get the kill onto Optic. Foster's trying to challenge onto the backstairs. He loses all of his health, and Link, who's just found his way into sight. Ryba now 15 seconds to go. He's got it all to do. He has all 3 of his smoke canisters left. He just needs to find 1 kill. He misses the shots initially. The time's running out. He gets the down, but Light comes in from behind. Ryba was so close to being able to do that, but...
That was so close. Oh my goodness. Ryba almost came in clutch, but then all the guns, of course, trying to help the diffuser to go down, were there to catch him. Otherwise, time would be the problem.
I don't know what's going on with this blue hold. They're not investing the ADSs. They had the shield that time, and Ryba getting aggressive. I really don't think that's the play, especially with like there was about 40 seconds I think when he tried to peek. Like, back off, close it up. Protect your teammates. Why as well was Foster getting aggressive over by Pillar? This aggression is good in the early round. It's very strong at the beginning if you're able to get that opening frag, and we saw it from Optic. He got the kill and he got away. But you shouldn't be just throwing yourselves at the attackers right at the end, and that is what costed them these last couple rounds.
Aquilans are not wanted. After a quiet second map, Linku is 8 in 3 through 5 rounds on Oregon. This individual should be considered armed and deadly.
Unless you're on Consular, because I think he was something like 5 and 10 on that map. But
if you have any information on where he is right now, please send them to us so we can take next steps. This has to be punished.
And if you knew where he was when we was on Consulate, I think you should inform his team so they can make sure that he's going to be sitting at his computer next time. I think I think his little brother must have been playing during that map, because it's just a completely different person.
Maybe it's just not his map. And Azox is saying this is my map and shuts down Foster. Once again, the favor for Team Wanted. Team Wanted already in the driver's seat, leading. Trade is there right after. Optic finds Azox. But let's not forget about it. This is a defender-sided map, and the attacking team is leading right now.
Yeah, and Team Wanted got the potential to make this a 4-2 split. Don't have the man advantage for the moment, but, well, as soon as I say that, Deadshot is going to take down Nexus, meaning that Team Wanted got a lot of the momentum moving forward. Nexus had 6-7 kills to the opening 3 rounds? He's really struggled since then, and it's not looking good. The output has just completely dropped off, and it's really affecting Homeless. And I thought I had so much confidence for Like right there, but Optic, he just loves those white stairs.
He loves them, and this time he actually won. I mean, this time he did win, and he did win a gunfight, which was really important to be won. Life is off the board, and the man count is tied once again. And importantly as well, the attackers did not come really far to drain utility and to also breach some walls. So the favor right now is on Homeless, even though, for example, Optic is really low on HP, right? They do have the favor of now being able to sit on spot. They do have the Maester to deny a plant. They do have Smoke to either deny a plant or entry. So they do have the right utility in that 3v3 needed. But of course, it will again come down to gunfights.
Now, Linku potentially going to be able to open up this game's wall. Ours does have the holes in the floor to throw an impact down to deny it. Linku only with one Selma left needs to make sure that this one works to provide a different angle of attack. Ours having to let the first one pop to allow the line of sight before you can deny the full-on rotate. But it's going to be Deadshot and Attic that's going to be taking up the attention of most of the defenders. But that's completely misguided. It's going to be Linku to get the first Deadshot, then getting one of his own, and now Rival yet again left by himself, but he isn't able to make it happen. Wanted out of nowhere, going 4-2 on attack on Oregon.
Do you remember that we spoke about Wanted at first on Villa just missed that warm-up scrim? I think that was the case.
Villa was the warm-up scrim.
Yeah. The longer they play, the better they get. I mean, they lead 4-2 on a defender-sided map. That is almost magic.
I mean, having Thatcher being able to play is obviously... Thatcher being able to play and my band is obviously going to give a huge boost to the attackers. But, you know, Linku's got 9 kills, Leica's got 6 kills, and they both, I think, they've got 3 deaths each, which is a complete 180 from where we've seen the pair of them on the last 2 maps. Leica has been struggling, he was very much struggling on Villa. Linku was struggling on Consulate, but here, now, they're being able to put it all together and get it to work, and I think this might be sort of Team Wanted playing a bit more true to form, actually, and I think my expectations of what we've been seeing from them might have been completely misguided.
Well, we will see now in the round swap if Wanted is able to continue with that speed they've got right now. Okay, that is some magic happening there for Thamson. Well, I mean, maybe they're actually magicians, right? Anyways, yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Have you ever seen these guys and a magician in the same room?
I don't know. No. Does that mean something? I'm not good at math.
You've never seen me and Batman in the same room, so can you prove that...
Coincidence? I don't think so.
Yeah, I could be Batman. You don't know.
Well, I could be Batman as well. You don't know as well. Maybe we're both Batman. Maybe there's 2. Well, I don't live in Arkham. I also don't live... I don't hope you live in Arkham. But we are now on the reverse point. Round swap just happened, so now Team Wanted has to defend and Homeless has to attack. If you are not familiar with that, this happens every time after the 6th round in a map, and like I said, this just happened, so now it will be the other way around. Mexes continues to be Mexes and shuts down Linku, and that is a massive frag. Getting Linku out early on, getting that fragger out early on is super important.
Yeah, and as well, a good combination of, I believe they actually used the Thatcher to deactivate the bandits, and then the Ace Selma detonating destroyed them. So they've got that attic opened up as well. And ours, still with 2 Selmas left in his pocket, could use them to open up generator. But like, he's wanting to get aggressive on Mechas, but he's gonna lose! Mex is even able to win that fight. Like, I mean, yeah, you gotta admit when it's a nice shot like that.
At least the fair play is coming in. Deadshot first, waiting to hit the head, but then finally shuts down Max's. Really in a tight spot right now because there's another attacker in Garage, so he definitely needs to be aware of that. Homeless is now in the leading spot. Maybe it's an attacker-sided map. Maybe I had my stats wrong and Pro League is wrong. I don't know. Maybe we are making history here.
I do think that the Thatcher 1 combo is really powerful, but Deadshot as well, making sure his own impact is felt, but 2 quick kills coming through from Homeless means that it's just slipped up to the smoke of Thamson, and he's gonna go down. Smoke being left last alive is becoming a recurring theme, and well, they've not been able to clutch one out so far.
The amount of aggressivity is immense, both teams are doing runouts, even late in the round, even in the risky times, right? Both teams are really going for long roam games and everything. And it's interesting to see how successful they are with the aggressivity, especially Wanted as a defending team. Twice they did an aggressive move and twice they came out as a winner. 4-3. I don't know what to say. That I don't know what to say. Not gonna lie.
We might be witnessing, like you mentioned,
Attackers
one
need
of
to
the
locate
very
and
first
defuse the
attacker-sided
bomb.
Oregon games, and you know, a bit of that comes down to the operator bans, and a bit of that comes down to this other recurring theme of the evening, the aggression.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this one went overtime as well. Just judging by the way that these guys have played so far.
You know what is weird? For me, it's weird that we're speaking of aggression, but per se, these teams are not playing overly aggressive, right? It's just they play quite normal, but from time to time, they just push the lever of aggressivity to maximum to get the favor in that situation, and these peaks are really crazy to me because they're quite unusual, but they are working.
Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head there. Where we would quite often see a lot of teams either fall back, stay where they are, take a slightly more passive approach, play their lives, play the round to a greater extent. These guys, for better or worse, are actively trying to get aggressive and take these fights that quite a lot of teams wouldn't want to take. Yeah, prime example of that is Ryber whenever they were defending downstairs, and he just face challenged Blue. Just there was no need, but he went for it anyway, because if he did get one of those kills, if he was able to kill someone there, that would have been massive for his team and could have swung the round. Both times he went for it, he didn't, so can't speak with 100% certainty, but even still, just the aggression is really quite overwhelming at points.
Absolutely. Attic, once again, being one of the first targets, of course, it makes sense because the attackers do want to get in there in order to hit kids and dorms and have a line of sight and a vector of attack, how I usually like to call it. The defenders on the same time do have to relocate themselves, as we could just see Valkyrie, for example, not really 100% sure where to play. I think it's also down to the fact that nobody really is attacking Master Bedroom right now, and they seem to think, if they don't attack, should we relocate? Maybe because of the C4, we can rather have it down below in Attic than below of Master Bedroom. On the other side, we do see Like as well in person below Master Bedroom, so he could run up potentially, or at least flank up main stairs. Linku being present in Master Bedroom. So all the important angles and entrance points closer towards the bomb spot are covered by Wanted, and this is a beautiful setup. I really want to admit, they are covering everything which is important.
Yeah, and they're doing it with 3 players on the site and 2 guys roaming. Deadshot is starting to make his way back on up as the Linku is losing quite a bit of his health, just playing up close and almost a kill going the way of Homer shooting over that shield. But now, with the aggression starting to come on through from Attic and Master Bedroom, the pressure is going to start mounting on the defenders, but time is the biggest issue right here. Ours gets one onto Azox and the Goyo shield gets destroyed, meaning that the peaks from kids are getting more and more dangerous. The smoke canisters are being used to deny the pressure coming in from Attic, but not the actual plant itself. It's the Valkyrie downstairs is going to be responsible for that, but Ryber lands the shot, and then the Thatcher does as well. All of these kills going the way of Homeless is just left up to Like in a 1 versus 5. Optic revives himself and he could deny this. Yes, right at the last second he gets
Oh
the
my
planter.
goodness! What? How could you do that? How did they allow this to happen? That was almost a flawless win for them.
The presence of mind, though, to understand the time that the plant would be going down right up until the time expired. He just needed 1 kill. He just needed to stay undetected and safe. That was perfect by the Jaeger. Oh my.
Oh my goodness. to be honest, that
Attackers need to
shouldn't have
locate and
happened.
defuse bombs.
I mean, it's quite obvious. I don't think I need to get this straight, but they were having such a big favor. They completely flooded the bomb spot, and yet they still lost because of that one room, that one line of sight they opened themselves. That hurts.
They didn't have anyone holding that that angle at the end. They didn't have anyone covering that
Insertion.
push, and
5
just
seconds to go.
I think we're both completely out of words for that last
Attacker's
round.
objective is to defuse a bomb.
Oh,
Defender has
there's
left
been a
the
lot
area
of
of
insane
operation.
rounds and insane plays. You know, there was a lot of really high quality, intense action on Villa alone, and it's kept up the whole way through. And I mean, like he's struggled all the way through up until this point, and now he is just popping off when his team really need it the most.
Absolutely. And once again, we did see the aggression. For example, the run out from Deadshot coming in quite early with the SMG in hand. So once again, even in defense, Team Wanted wants to show their presence, and Linku once again wants to show he's still active and he's still alive. Shuts down Ryba, shuts down Sledge, opening frag, and also the advantage in favor of Team Wanted. It could be their round to match point, and they're definitely showing that they're willing to get that in their favor.
But this push coming on in through the big town, actually going to be going into the back of Kitchen, is very different to what we saw from Wanted, who were much more inclined to go for the small tower take on the one time that they actually attacked this site. And I mean, the difference in strategy could work out. It just depends on how much utility Wanted have invested towards protecting this backside, and how proficient the Clash can be at denying access through the screen corridor.
Clash, of course, coming in really handy right now to get the information, like at the same time gets the shot landed on ours. Azox finds Foster's head as well. Only 2 last attackers up alive. Optic finds a frag onto Azox, finally shutting down at least one of them, trading one off for another. Max is also really pressuring down on the Clash, but not killing her for the moment. And he will actually be the only one alive because Linku shuts down Optic. It's all up to Maxis. He has to face the Clash right in front of him. He will get rid of her. Actually, he will not, because Linku will do so and he'll help him out. But like, will shut down Maxis finally and eventually, and that is the match point on the 3rd map for Team Wanted.
Oh, looks like Optic has dropped out of the lobby, so we might be heading to a rehost. Yep, the rehost has been called, so we're going to be bringing it back. But oh my day, even the impressive performance they had to qualify for CCS and Wanted, you know, not been in the same kind of leagues and the same kind of matches, but they are, I mean, going toe for toe and in fact taking the lead and on the cusp of winning. It's really very impressive to witness.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Defenders, protect your bombs.
also
Be
seeing how they
attackers.
basically get better and better and better the longer the match plays out is really interesting. I mean, the first map there was no overtime, right? Let me check the final score. Final score on the first map was 7-5. Then we went on the second map to overtime. Now on the third map, they're leading 6-3. It's like they're getting better and improving map per map per map. And now they might ultimately take the match win for it. And I'm really liking that. On the other side, Homeless was starting off first, but then they kind of dropped on a I don't know what happened to them, but they dropped quite drastically. And if they want to still win, they are able to still win, right? It's still a best of 3. If they manage to tie 6-6 and then go to overtime, they are able to win, but they do need to win this round right now.
And they're going to have to do it against the strongest defensive site on the map, the basement, where we've seen Team Wanted already be very successful. I really don't know how this one's going to go, but I don't think it's going to go well with Foster. One of the hard breach getting taken out immediately, and Foster, again, one of those critical players on the side of Homeless who maybe isn't as consistent, maybe doesn't get 2-3 kills, 4 rounds in a row, but he will show up and he will carry you through specific rounds.
Absolutely. That is already mentally, I think, a big deal for Team Wanted. They have now the boost. They are 1 man up. We can just sit it out, right? If it's going to come down to a fight on side, we're probably going to win. But they do need to be able to do that. In order to be able to do that, they do need to, for example, now slow the attackers when they're trying to push in. Ryba, for example, will probably be pushing in very soon, or hours, and they need to stop that push. And I do like to see as well that grenade being prepared perfectly to shut down Azox. Yeah, Ryba, like I said, he has to make a move, and that was a perfect move. 1 player shut down as well on Wanted side. So basically a 50-50 once again. Drones come up. Deadshot being unrevealed, but he is found regardless from ours. That was a little bit of a mistake from his side. Also, Mainstream's push from Optic coming in, unaware from the attack, from the defender, sorry. Thamson has to fall as well to Ryba. Like, they're able to refrag onto Ryba, so trade right after. What a gunfight back and forth.
But now it's all left up to Linku coming down the main stairs, but he's too slow to get on into the site, and Optic's able to finish him off. The attacking Oregon meta strength, I don't know what's going on. Just the ability to win these attacks is incredible. Bandit getting caught out trying to shoot a drone right as the peak came through. You could not time it any worse for him if you tried, but they are going to have another crack trying to defend downstairs, and I don't really know what they could do to improve. Potentially supporting Azox with an ADS so he doesn't get naded out of that position very early on, because I believe he still had a C4 in his pocket, and that nade was just perfectly placed to flush him out. And then Bandit's just unfortunate luck.
I mean, whoever will lose this match, luckily there is some sort of net underneath you which will catch you, because what is happening here in CCS is we have a bracket which favors, or which still has you in the option to win even if you lost once, right? So there's a winner's bracket and a loser's bracket, or an upper and a lower bracket if you want to be less mean in formulating it. But nonetheless, even if you lose your first match or your second match and you go to the bottom bracket, to the lower bracket, you still have a chance to win CCS. But it does cost you much more energy, it does cost you many more wins, and it is much more risky, of course. So taking a win still in the upper bracket, maybe also today in the first match, is definitely what you want to aim for. Otherwise, you're putting yourself under big pressure. So Homeless did show us in the last round how aggressive they can be. They're facing a match point, they show us aggression, they win. If they can reproduce that now, and maybe another time, we might go into overtime. But they do have to show us now once again.
Yeah. And they're getting ready for this blue execute. Foster, he's up above with the EMP, and this will land directly above the elbow position, disabling those ADSs, meaning that a frag nade can come on through, get rid of the shield. Smoke nade by Tamsin, though, goes out to deny the quick push in, so he's going to be able to successfully reinforce the wall. Something that we didn't see Homeless do on their own defenses, but that was just a beautiful bit of coordination and well played by both teams to sort of understand what was going on there.
Indeed. For now, no opening frag within the first minute, so no early advantage for one of these two teams. So definitely a closer looking round. But if we look into blue, we do see that blue is already in control of the attackers. On the other side, though, Bandit, of course, is helping out, but we do know Siege. We do know how Siege works. Now Thatcher is going to rotate over. That just happened. First EMP going out, but Bandit is still able to play actively. Don't forget about that. And successfully also does so, but the kill box will be opened by ours,
Attackers have
so
dropped
at
the
least
bomb
one
diffuser.
line of sight has been generated. ASOX at the same time shuts down ours, shuts down the hard destructibility, and makes it much harder for Homeless to open line of sights.
Linku getting pinched on those big tower stairs, but it's Azox pushing out into blue to get a double kill, and this round is definitely in the hands of Homeless. Nice shots as well coming from Like over by the pillar onto his back tower stairs, as Foster is now down to just over 25 points of health, and Optic is down to 10. Such a low HP and 4 players to find. A difficult task coming up for Homeless, but C4's being used early. Concussions going out from Optic to give him the opportunity to push on down. The breach made by the Ace means that Azox has been able to push on out and hold that elbow position. Foster pushing in as Azox goes down, but not expecting Deadshot to be close. He's gonna get taken out himself. It's now 1 versus 2. Optic trying to find a way to win this, but with 15 seconds left to go, Thompson's actually out of smoke nades. Deadshot still with a C4 in hand, prone close to the doorway. He gets up and moves out of the way. He might lose his gunfight, but no! He downs Optic, whiffs a couple of the pistol shots at the end, but that is the end. Team Wanted, after losing Villa, winning Consular in overtime, take Oregon in a commanding 7-4. I just don't believe it. I really thought Homeless had this game.
I totally your opinion. I couldn't agree more. I mean, especially the way Wanted played the first map and now took the win. They completely did a 180.
Thanks again, Silver and Dino. It was an absolute pleasure broadcasting with you guys, and thank you to the production team as well. It was super smooth today, but everyone stick around because NA will be coming very shortly. Any final words from you, Silver and Dino?
Do you want to go first?
Nothing from me. I mean, it was a very exciting day, and I'm looking forward to being able to stay involved and cast some more of these games moving forward. Some of these teams have already got a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see what they can show us.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just put my signature right underneath it. Maybe just add a little sentence. Thanks to all the viewers out there. Massive amount of people watching, and I think the games are speaking for themselves. We just have a massive show, massive teams, really big talent involved, and thanks to everyone.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night, everyone.